It's that time again here at the Blizzard Arena for us to continue to play video games. Welcome to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. I'm Nathanius, joined by Fear Dragon. It's good to see you, Ravi.
It's good to see you, Nate. How are you doing?
I'm great. How you been?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little sad because we just ordered drinks for like coffee and stuff, and I ordered my drink wrong, so can't drink it anymore. So a little sad about that. But you know what makes me excited, Nate? It's this Terran versus Zerg, because this is a fun story. Now I think a lot of people will look at these two guys, they'll say like Reynor and souL. Well, doesn't Reynor just win 3-0? Isn't this just gonna be like a 20-minute series or something? It's like, you know what? Here's the one little caveat I'd say. Reynor looked a little bit, I mean, he didn't look like traditional Reynor, crazy good player GSL versus the world. He's been traveling a little bit, and I think that souL, he's basically just trying to overcome like this curse right now.
Are you saying Raynor's washed up at 16 years old?
He's 17 now, isn't he?
I have no idea what you're talking about. That's insane.
I still give Reynor a lot of favoritism here. I still think it's probably going to be Reynor 3-1, but I have like this little bit of hope for souL right now. I have this little bit of feeling that I think souL could make some magic happen.
Okay. Katz was telling us that souL can only win if he has 9 orbital commands.
Yeah, apparently that is straight out of souL's mouth, that he believes that Terran is an unplayable race until you get 9 command centers.
I mean, when you have 9 command centers, you can kind of infinitely scan, so he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's in the top left here. Welcome to King's Cove for the start of our 3rd best of 5. In the red, he is the Terran player. He is souL.
Do you want to just do the second intro too?
He faces off against the young Italian champion in the southeast, the blue Zerg player. He's Reynor.
Dude, those claws on the drones look so cool when they're gathering minerals.
Yeah, they kind of look like they've got... Honestly, it was like the simulant...
They look like they're munching.
The simulant drone straight up had like saw blades for hands. These guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I get Crab Rave vibes off of these drones. I feel like I'm watching Winter Stream.
Rave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
These guys could dance. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it. You know, I have to.
Do you think crabs are more efficient for mining minerals? Do you think crab claws? Honestly, I don't think so.
I would. Okay, well here's the thing. If you could cut the minerals with 1 crab claw slice, yes. But they aren't doing that. They're like, you can see that they're moving their little crab claws back to their mouths. It's like they're holding the minerals in their mouth for a bit.
It does look like they're eating them, and they do hold them in their mouth.
That's like little... Wait a second, hold on. If you look really closely at where they're mining, it looks like they're like spouting up the creep. There's like the little dirt that comes up or something.
Well, mining's mining is a dirty job.
It is
a dragon.
Is that dirt or creep though? Is that dirt or creep?
I think that animation happens even if they're off creep. So I just think that sometimes you can't mine that easily. That's why we gotta, you know, just imagine if we could just build something over the minerals that just harness their energy without causing so much pollution.
There's an upgrade for that in the campaigns.
Not for mineral mining, Fear Dragon.
Not for minerals. Not for minerals. That I think. Yeah, I guess that would be a little too much. Well, maybe you could just create some sort of autonomous drone that maybe lasts for a certain period of time that can go mine.
Yeah, but it will still be an alpha stage after 10 years.
All right, we do have the Reaper opening over here, so souL gonna try and get some basic scouting information. Again, Reynor is one of those players that he's mixed in some kind of aggressive openings. He's got a really strong late game. It's not exactly like there's just one period of time in the game where you're like, well, Reynor, you do this one little build at this time, you hit this little timing, and then you just beat him like that. No, it's actually not like that. souL's got to come up with some of his own answers here.
You ever think about that, Fear Dragon? Imagine that you design something, you're like, you know what, this bad boy is going to pull minerals fast, all right?
Okay.
But then over 10 years, you only find ways to make the design worse. Like, now it mines slower.
So it's Facebook?
It doesn't last.
Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah.
I apologize to my friends on Facebook.
You know what? You know what they say. All the old grandfathers of Terran still think mules are good, so it does make a lot of sense. Denies the first creep tumor. Almost
Not
gets
bad.
the next one.
Yeah, and doing a good job of keeping that good old Reaper alive. And when the Hellions finally are making their way across the map, which he's only making one of right now.
Battlecruiser. Do it. Do it!
Okay, so there's the next set of Hellions. Here we go. That explains it. Saving up minerals for those for that fusion core, so you can Battlecruiser harass. So Nate, I heard that the Battlecruiser got buffed, but it got buffed without being touched. How did that happen versus Zerg, Nate?
Dude, infested Terrans suck versus BCs now. Like, they still work, but you could no longer... We will never see a game like the end of that Hero Marine game ever again. I did the math. All right, I've taken.
Hold on, we should clarify what the patch notes were. There were 2 changes to the infested Terrans.
Yes.
One is that there was a bug where the infested Terrans were ignoring armor.
Don't use that word around me. Don't use that word around me.
Well, we're literally watching a bug versus human match, so I think it's kind of unavoidable.
Okay.
But
continue.
That was the first change. The second change is that the infested Terrans' attack speed rate got It's now longer between attacks.
They shoot
slower.
Slowly.
Yeah. They shoot slower. So now go ahead.
Previous calculations at full upgrades, 4 infestors worth of infested Terrans used to beat like 4 or 5 battlecruisers. Now it's not even now. Now it's like BCs can actually kill infested Terrans. If you upgrade them well. The thing is, the real kicker about the infested Terran was also that a lot of Zerg players didn't necessarily rush ranged upgrades. So if you got armor upgrades, you were kind of punished for having those because it didn't really do anything. But I have had some fun games already on this patch with Zergs who try to do that. And because you can kind of go for the the final destination Yamato, where the BC, even though mind controlled, will still fire off. If the Zerg player relies way too heavily on infestors and then they try to infest a Terran bomb you, oh yeah, stuff like planetary fortresses are good against them again now. So there is a whole new world out there. And
I believe it.
We got that cutie patootie battlecruiser teleporting in.
Doing little bits and pieces of damage, finding 6 workers. Oh, there's the patented Raynor Ling run-bys that do manage to find their way in.
Somebody watched Nathanius versus Cats.
I'm sure that's where Raynor got the idea to do a run.
Oh, of course, of course. All right, Fear Dragon. Now, as a fellow lore master, I have to ask you, since we've managed to get 2 seconds of downtime.
Hit me.
There's no bridge between the front and the back of the battlecruiser. It's just the laser battery. They trimmed it down. Nobody can get from the front to the back. What is in the front? What happens there? The guns aren't in the front. The Yamato's not in the front.
My belief is that there is a small, very narrow little path. He just threw down a mule to repair the battlecruiser.
Well, he watches Nathanius' stream. Yes, of course he does.
There you go. Okay, but my belief is that there is a small little passageway, but just like in the movies, there is that moment where the battlecruiser has something horrible go wrong on that side, and they have to send someone through, and it seems like it's not going to work, and they say, well, someone has to stay behind to save this and to repair it. I'll close the doors off. And they sacrifice themselves.
Yo, yeet the other BC there. If you kill the Spire. No. There we go. I was going to say, if you kill the Spire here.
Oh, yeah, because you were saying if you Yamato the Spire and the battlecruiser teleports in right when it starts, the Spire will not finish, right?
Yeah. He's still fine. I think that BC is in some danger, but if it flies straight back, he should be able to get home unless it's mutas, but even then mutas are still really slow at killing BCs.
This has been a good start for souL though, right?
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, he's got his 3rd base set up. Worker count looks good, and the thing is with mech, there's never an opportunity to win a game with mech until you're maxed, so for all the fancy complimenting that I could say, there's still a long way to go. We got a lot of game left, as they say, and we'll be saying tonight.
And this is not the newer, is it even new anymore? This is not the battle mech. This is the old school, let's get up a lot of tanks, let's get up some Hellions, and the battlecruisers, of course, added in as well. So
I think your biggest, slower. Yeah, and I like it, because here's the thing. Your biggest fear when you go battlecruisers is not what's in the air. It's being drowned in blood. by a type of Zerg player that will just slam down the roach key and say, look, man, I don't think you're going to have a whole lot on the ground. I'm going to try and overwhelm you. Because as long as you can stall the game out, like BCs are going to be good at neutralizing the units that are good against your tanks. You can, you know, single target down with Yamato onto Broodlords. If you get enough BCs to kill all the Corruptors, or they don't have enough Corruptors, then the Battlecruisers themselves can just kill everything. It's some great upgrade usage as well. He's getting the reinforced plating, getting that building armor / Neo Steel.
Oh yeah, the merging of those two upgrades.
It is useful.
Hellions not finding too much damage so far. They get a shot off on the drones, but don't actually kill any just yet. But still, just getting some scouting information. And Infestation Pit finishes up. That's going to allow that Hive tech get started up there for Reynor. Maybe start adding on some of those. Do you add on the Do you bother adding on the Vipers, or do you just go straight into Infestors?
No, Vipers are really important. So this doesn't get a whole lot of discussion, but if you have Vipers with your Corruptors, Abduct cancels Yamato. If you abduct 3 BCs, I mean, you can kill them mid-abduct if you focus fire properly. Like, they won't be able to teleport. You should wait until BC's at half health if you think you're going to try and, like, finish it with an abduct. But they can't teleport while being abducted, so it closes that window for a brief moment. But if they're all firing up to Yamato, you can cancel them like that. So I don't think it's ever a bad call. But in this situation, you're just going to start to trade out. Wow, okay, this skin on the Corruptor skin this War Chest, that looks really sexy.
That does look really, really cool.
I like that one.
They got little booster packs on them. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Well, they had to find an in-game explanation for how fast they are. Notice how you don't need an upgrade.
Ooh, speaking of speedy, we got some Blue Flame Hellions over here darting on into that base, roasting and toasting 8 more drones, but Raynor still got 85, so I think he's going to be feeling okay. He's still actually added on 4 more, so he's going up to 89. Just one shy of the Sheth 90.
All right, so Infestors are going to come out. Now, fungal growth is
still
big.
Helpful, right?
Fungal is big for, and teleport is still great. If you, I was talking to Katz about this earlier. I think, so there's this whole, God, I need to find a better, like, I swear there's $1 million catchphrase here. But, so think about it this way. You can start to Yamato and Infestor, right? You assume you scan. Infestor Neural Parasite's your Battlecruiser. Your Battlecruiser will still Yamato and likely kill the Infestor, or if he doesn't target the Infestor, then you're going to have control of it. But in that brief moment, while the Yamato is traveling from the BC to the Infestor that's controlling it, you can tell that Battlecruiser to teleport anywhere. And whatever you put in that Battlecruiser's teleprompter, it will teleport anywhere. So you can still have it go into a Spore Forest, or just burn the cooldown and stay in the same place so that your Corruptors can try to get it. And for that reason alone, Neural Parasite is still really, really, really important, because you cannot cancel that last command that the Zerg is going to give your Battlecruiser before the Yamato connects. So they can still burn all of your teleports. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. God, those BCs look sexy. He's building 3 at a time. And look at that, he's even getting armor upgrades for the ghosts he's going to be moving into. This is a year 3000 play.
Katz was telling me that this series was going to be extremely long because souL doesn't play short games. He doesn't play mid-long size games. He only plays long games.
We already established he steals my strategies.
How many command centers has he got so far, Nate?
I don't think we're at 9.
We're at 2 planetaries.
He has 6 orbitals. Actually, he's almost at the 9 orbital.
Wait, no, Nate, he's going to 10. He has 2 command centers. He's going beyond the 9. But he's gonna lose a planetary, which brings him to 9.
Planetaries aren't orbitals, though.
Ah, that's true. Did he say 9 orbitals or 9 command centers?
9 orbitals.
Okay.
Scans all day. Scans all day. He's dropping meals, getting paid.
Well, he's starting up another command center.
Get the shockwave upgrade. That upgrade is so sick, by the way. I mean, it didn't magically win everything for Hero Marine, but
oh my God.
I digress.
He's adding on 5 command centers. 6 command centers, Nate.
Quantum physics forbids this.
Oh my God, he's literally drawing them in a line too, so they're gonna create some sort of Hadron Collider. He's gonna try and lob particles of like mules at his opponent. This is, all right. souL, what have you been doing lately?
God, this army looks so good. That Cyclone skin is beautiful.
That is a pretty cool Cyclone skin.
It feels like they pulled that Cyclone out of Tron. I don't know.
It's got that yellow cockpit kind of thing going on.
I can see Ryan Gosling stepping out of that Cyclone. I'm just saying.
What was Ryan Gosling in? I don't remember him.
Future dystopian film? No? Nothing?
Which one? Which future dystopian film? How long have these siege tanks, by the way, have been on the mini-map down here in this bottom left-hand corner for like 2 minutes now?
Hashtag just chilling.
Yeah.
This is perfect though, because I think with this upgrade for the Ghosts and the change to the Infestor, legit is so much easier to hit those Infestors, and you can hit so many more of them when you do hit them. The Ghost Battlecruiser might be, dare I say it?
Oh my god.
The future. And this is exactly how you do it.
Oh!
Just teleport out.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful. I love that. That's
only
great.
you had found the Greater Spire, this game would have gotten really funny.
Oh, yeah. The Greater Spire is finishing up somewhere else safely.
This many ghosts.
Okay, good spotting there from Raynor. He's faced off against some of these nuke memes before.
For all you fans of horror films out there, the new Ghost skin also does a great impression of the lady in the painting from the movie It.
Wait, does it have a different
dance command on
different voice lines?
It's currently set to the wireframe of the original Ghost model. It
yes.
It doesn't play very well with the animation.
I did see that. I did see that image.
Yeah. So if the lady in the painting horrified you, send your friends this. Trust me, they'll love it.
Well, I did hear the lady in the painting was also a ghost.
Yeah,
but
I'm taking you very seriously right now. Okay,
I appreciate it. I'm always serious when I lay out my puns.
Look at that.
That's a nice spot for that ghost.
That ghost should not be there.
Yeah, it's outside of the Spore Crawler range there, and Raynor has just realized it. He's maybe gonna lose 2 drones there. There we go. All
right, Fear Dragon. I'm gonna 300 IQ big brain you. Are you ready for this?
Okay, hit me.
Okay. You know that the Ghost Tactical Strike, the tactical nuke, can only be seen if you can see where the nuke's dot is being put, right?
Yes.
Did you know you can put that nuke dot in like the
off the terrain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can put it behind the cliff on some of the maps that have the thing right there, and it'll appear at the bottom.
Yeah, I know. I recently found that out firsthand.
That's why if you want to nuke a Zerg base or a Protoss base, putting it as close to the top center middle of the town hall is the best, because you can sometimes get it behind like a little tentacle.
Oh!
That's the thing.
The fungal's a problem right now.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Oh my god, he has too many Battlecruisers.
The thing with Infestors, even with the change, Infestors are still only good in large numbers when you can grab everything. Because you need to get multiple fungals and either land biles, or your corruptors need to be killing them.
Okay, another Yamato being used. I think he should be out of Yamatos over here, but this corruptor count is just not that high.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, yeah, he just doesn't have enough corruptors.
He moved command of the corruptors in.
No, they're dead.
Oh boy,
He did.
This is becoming a problem because now the Battlecruisers, they have their teleport off cooldown. They're gonna kill another one of these
so
spires.
weird too, because I've never seen this before. The corruptors have no attack upgrades, and then it just turns into tactical jump street. And another nuke drops too.
Oh, the Infestors didn't have enough energy for a fungal. That's why he had so much trouble. And there's only 2 of them.
He's only got 2 Infestors now, 6 more on the way. That drone dies of nuclear hellfire.
Hard way to be born into this world.
Does it bother you? Because it bothers me that the Overseer skin, they have Raven antennas. They stole the Raven antennas.
Okay, yes. I have to say, a few times during GSL versus the world,
you thought those
I'm
Ravens?
looking at those Ravens.
Say it.
Or I'm looking at those Overseers. I'm like, you know what?
I thought so too.
I thought this was a Protoss versus Zerg, but apparently there's a Raven in here.
And you're from a state that has real education, so I'm not crazy now when I say that. It looks like that. There's a random Marine in there too.
Oh, nice. The Oracle skin actually does look a little bit like a Phoenix as well. It's got like the Phoenix. It's like someone added the wings on the Oracle. I still like it, but it's gonna take a little getting used to.
These Terran skins look like they belong in like StarCraft 3 or something.
These Terran skins are sick. I'm a huge fan.
I love it. I really can't wait until I can play with this whole set, seriously.
These Terran skins look so good with that golden star decal that souL is using too, because it just adds a little bit of more yellow to the yellow flash.
Yeah, no, I feel you. If any of the devs are watching, just whitelist me for all of them, okay? I'm advertising them for you anyway. Just hook me up. I already paid for it. You got my money.
Indeed.
I abuse my caster powers.
he
so I
forgot
can get my
pathogen
chrome
glands.
siege tanks.
Oh, he forgot pathogen glands. Well, he just got
Are
it now.
pathogen glands gonna be the biggest?
I mean, I think...
Oh, that EMP! I'm watching Wings of Liberty again.
SCV is being sacrificed, so... There's a big army in the bottom left. It's just gonna draw some attention.
This is the best way to do it. This is how you do it. Do you want to know how many replays I had to send souL in the last week? 11. Exactly 11. Goodbye, Spore Crawler.
For the infestors.
You just force the Zerg to engage somewhere the infestors aren't. Yamato, TP out. Easy.
And this is why he needs so many command centers, Nate, so he can constantly scan and see when the infestors are coming.
You want to know what the next step is? Because he's already done he's already stolen all my moves.
Orbitals.
He's got to drop the Mule Hammer in the enemy base and mine out their minerals.
Okay. Got him!
Air horn production.
Nice job.
That was beautiful.
All right, so I do want to quickly
Still
note
5K,
that
5K.
yeah, I know souL has been very far behind in the bank for pretty much the entirety of this game.
That's true.
But that comes with the style, right?
His army, look at army value. This is the most expensive army you can build in StarCraft. If we get it's just the regular old A-tab at some point, awesome sauce. His army is worth more. This is not a conversation we normally get to have, but the Terran has a more expensive army. It's not all Marines and Marauders versus Ultralists and Vipers. It's Battlecruisers. They're 400 minerals, 300 gas, and ghosts. And those are the two most expensive units you can build in StarCraft. So the bank is not as big, but the army is worth more. And on paper, it's just better. Because on the last patch, you would say if Zerg can force a fight and drop 50 infested Terrans, they'll kill all the air units instantly. But now they won't. Now the Zerg player has to try and do some chipping away, either try to get like a Nidus inside of one of the bases, or you got to put some spotters out, right? Because these Battlecruisers are just going to keep going around the outside. Like we're in an old rap video for the rest of this game. And that's the best way to do it. You're just going to constantly try to backstab. You're going to force all those corruptors to go back towards you. You're going to go, and you're just going to blow everything to pieces and then teleport out.
All right, so Raynor's been able to take out that top right-hand base, but there are plenty of orbitals to replace that. Raynor's going to try and continue the fight, and the Battlecruisers are on the bottom left-hand side of the map, so they're not here to defend, but they may also be able to get some good damage done themselves. Another planetary goes down. Command center does get delayed/canceled. Investors are here. He has to teleport out.
But see, this is the other nice part, is the corruptors are there, right? So you teleport back, and guess what? Suddenly the Battlecruisers they're showing up, and they brought the good stuff to the party for the ghosts back at home, right?
I'm with you on that, but I do think trading out 2 bases is not worth the damage that you get to trade it out for, right?
You say that now, but that Zerg bank is starting to get chewed through a little bit. And it's gonna sound dumb, but God, is he actually building 13 SCVs at once? Never mind, take it all back. You don't need more SCVs!
Oh my God, he is! I don't think I've ever seen that many workers produced at once outside of a pure worker versus worker battle.
Like when you have 12 orbital commands, you're not dropping a Mule Hammer. You're dropping a Mule Mjolnir, okay? Like, your worker count being over 30 becomes a bitter memory. Well, look at that, he does.
Nice EMP.
Well, you know what, you're gonna kill.
Did he get the EMP upgrade? He did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That upgrade is so sick.
Yeah, I saw a lot of it used in that last series of Hearthstone versus Hero Marine. Battlecruisers come rolling on in. Guess what? The creep spread does not catch that area.
And if I'm him, you know, you want to start picking off hatcheries, disrupting drones. Honestly, going for overlords is really fun in this scenario because it's something that Zerg players don't think about. But it is actually a really good way to get them to chew through their bank if there's nothing there. Because the only thing you don't want to do is fight by where the infestors are.
Whoa! Okay, aggressively forward onto the infestors. There are the neural parasites that the Yamatos have already been used.
See, the infested Terrans didn't instantly kill all of them, and that's quite nice because.
Did they kill any of them?
No.
Okay.
So you get the Zerg. It's like the new magnet play. You get the Zerg to be like, oh my God, I'm gonna drop 80 infested Terrans, and then you realize the whole there's a whole army for the Terran, and infested Terrans don't literally kill everything on their own anymore, so you die.
This is definitely becoming a very problematic situation right now for Reynor. He's got the bank, or had the bank, to remax a bit, and he is getting closer to remax, but his minerals are gone.
Now that you have slowly been beaten down into agreeing with me that souL is obviously going to win this game for your dragon, this, I'd like to clarify, is exactly what I wanted to see from Thermal. This is what I wanted Thermal to do. Battlecruiser builds are really freaking good now because you can make plays and the infestors don't kill all of them.
I got so excited for that one.
I have already said this. Plays like this are good. Use the units you have at your disposal. I think Big Corruptor with Viper support can do a lot because they cannot teleport while being grabbed by the Viper. Get enough Corruptors to start dunking on the BCs. Yeah, the Terran player has the other units that they're going to be able to work with, but that's when you got to try to like mix Broodlords in or something. It's not going to be easy, but I mean, I think it's way too far gone. Reynor has burned through. He's exhausted all of his resources. And the infestor count is completely gone, which means the units to support them are still there. Now, if there's a big Baneling Bile Bust and he kills all the tanks and ghosts, and it's just the BCs, and he slams down the Corruptor key a little bit harder, maybe 21 Corruptors is pretty nice. But he only has +1 attack on his air as well, so those Corruptors have not been hitting very hard at all this game.
Yeah, and on top of that, there are a bunch of SCVs, I believe, pulled this time with the army. So he's got the repair power.
Multi-prong nukes, no attack upgrades on Corruptors. Like, you need to make it as hard as possible for the Terran to get out of those.
Didn't catch that one.
Drop the beat. Another one.
Reynor is down to 39 workers. Another nuke coming on up into that base. It seems like he's noticed the ghost this time. Transfuses up that hatchery quite a bit as well, but
it's like one of my favorite new songs. I get the feeling it'll never stop. Wow. Teleport. Eject. Careful. Careful. Oh. That's totally
a short-range teleport.
And the thing is, the ghost can just, oh my god, they rip the Corruptors to pieces.
Yeah.
I think now, with how low health they are, the infestors aren't enough. He could, there's a window here for him to attack. I don't think you want to go for it because the thing is, actually not having tactical jump helps you in this scenario because then your Zerg opponent can't try to throw you, into the abyss. Although there's no spore field. So that also doesn't matter.
He doesn't even have enough infestors to do like tactical jump on more than half of them.
No, that's the thing is he doesn't even, I don't even get enough to mind control all of them. Now 10 more coming out is going to change things a little bit. Dude, I would yeet these ghosts into the infestors instead of going for nukes at this point though. Like just throw into EMPs and then if you get one or two good EMPs.
That is it.
If the vials hit ghosts and BCs, this does start to look good for the Zerg.
EMPs do hit some of the infestors. The back one still got some energy, and whoa, okay, there are those corrosive vials teaming up with the fungals that you were talking about, and a majority of the battlecruisers get taken out.
The only thing that really bothers me, we've got 3 starports. Where are? I would rebuild the BCs in this situation. They've generated a ton of value. He's going for medevac, so he wants to switch into a traditional mech because he doesn't think that Broodlords are ever going to be on the table, which I can kind of get.
Yeah, there's actually, the other thing is Reynor has 10 Corruptors, and he's remaking more Corruptors right now.
Yeah, so that's very smart.
If there's no Battlecruisers, the Corruptor is going to have a lot of idling and caustic spraying that they're just going to be doing instead. Reynor has replenished a good chunk of those drones, but I do want to note he's still very much mineral starved right now. Just sitting around 300-ish minerals. Has really got to get that mineral mining back up. Even his gas bank is gone too.
This bothers me. Okay, so it's hard to put exactly into words. Okay, here's what I'm worried about right now.
Okay.
So now he's gone back into more ground focus, but there's already a lot of infestors. So to me, the possibility of there being some really, really, really big drops off of the
ooh, that's hatchery.
I think if he goes into Broodlords, it's going to be very hard for souL to deal with because the ghosts,
that I could see.
A couple fungals are going to be really big. You want to use the tanks to cover for them, but those BCs being thinned out, they are really good because it's like it's like the mutually assured destruction. It's like if you're going to go for air, I have the air to deal with it. So if you build Broodlords into a player who's already got BCs, you're really, really asking for it. There you go. Just tap it in.
There you go.
Sometimes a ghost, it's all in the hips, as they say.
Is that where they fire from? You fire from the hip with a sniper rifle?
Yeah. I don't know what kind of shooter games you're playing, but...
I was one of those scrubs that actually used the scope.
You play games that let you scope in?
Reynor's been able to deny this top right-hand base so many times, but looks like this time he is going to get pushed back before he can really snipe off that command center.
Well, this army is still decent until Broodlords come out. So, and he did just get the sickest EMP in the history of EMP.
All of the infestors are out of energy. This is where souL just goes for it, right?
This is where if you had a ton of BCs, you could do something.
He's starting up 1.
He still has 3. I'm not like BCs aren't off the table, but with the bank that he had, there was definitely, and honestly, the Corruptors have really been a pain in his side with taking those bases because we've had them caustic sprayed down a few moments. I would like to see more liberal use of turrets to cover the expansions because the Corruptors have generated insane value. They picked up that corner base like 2 or 3 times this game.
Just the caustic spray has been so good.
Yeah. Let me tell you, as a caustic expert, caustic's very good. You gotta be careful. Gotta be careful.
2 more command centers on the way as well. souL saying, you know what? 11 is not enough.
11 orbitals is not enough. I don't want the Mjolnir. I want the Mule Stormbringer.
13.
Stormbreaker. 13
is the new 11. 11 used to be the new 9.
You're really confusing me. I just finished season 3 of Stranger Things last night. We can't have this conversation.
Never watched that show.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know that you're confusing me.
Okay.
Not that you don't normally do that, but I'm just giving you a heads up this time. Roaches are in that base because now it's not planetary. And that's a shame because when you have 30 command centers, you know.
Oh my God.
You want your expansions to be.
This game got very all over the place.
Well, it all fell apart when. What exactly happened again? He put all the ghosts underneath the battlecruisers.
Oh, yes.
Got fungled, and then ate about 20 corrosive biles, which I'll tell you what doesn't get affected by armor, and people aren't upset about, is Ravager biles.
Yeah. Spells. Spells do not care about armor. Same thing with Psystorm. We are going to start to see... No, Raynor does not want to continue. I feel
just
like
keep the tanks spread out. The tanks are the most important component until Broodlords come out. But Raynor's been so patient with this to not go. He hasn't taken the bait.
EMP.
And these are some just phenomenal EMPs. Look at that. Gets like in EMPs. Gets
4
out.
infestors with energy left.
Are you ready? Do you know?
Okay,
Ooh,
there's a few units
Ravagers.
there.
Do you know how much a Ravager is worth?
More than a roach.
Yes, it's 100. There are 100 minerals and 100 gas, so it is the cost of a nuke. Did you guys know that? If you kill 1 Ravager with a nuke, you've generated value in a roundabout sort of way, because it also costs a larva.
That's a cool way of thinking about it. In a world where they both mine out their sides of the map, but
well,
right now
Zerg is always supposed to mine more than you, so if you get more than that,
Raynor's mining a little bit more, I would say.
What transformation servos? No, that's what the whole thing with BCs and repair, you know, it's like,
yeah,
it's about generating value because you know the Zerg should mine more than you, but on average, when you win with BCs against Zerg, you're looking at about a 15 to 20,000 resource difference, which is about a base or 2. So there you go. It's fast facts, Fear Dragon.
I'm digging it. I'm a little bit surprised because I feel like Raynor has been doing a good job of spending gas and minerals around the same amounts. Usually you end up seeing players kind of they deplete their mineral bank and have a lot of gas banked up, or vice versa. Oh, okay, these fungals really causing problems with those ghosts right now.
So I do still really like the ghost count. Broodlords are annoying, but getting rid of this base is really big. And just remember, the moment that you overcommit to dealing with the ground army, that BC count starting to swell up again. Like a rising tide approaching the coastline, the Zerg must prepare for the Battlecruisers to crash upon the shores.
Losing another one of those hatcheries in the top right-hand side. The Battlecruisers are still continuing their way on south, and I don't think there's anything really there to greet them.
I would go for the hive.
On the left.
I would just click towards the hive. I would Yamato Overlords. The most important thing that you do is make sure you don't lose.
Whoa, those EMPs! Absolutely annihilating
and then you step through the Bifrost and come home to kill everything.
Okay, we have a lot of infested Terrans being thrown out, but as we mentioned before, infested Terrans did get that nerf, but seems like the Corruptors are in high enough numbers to handle this.
The Corruptor count's really good, but this is where you want to bring the ghosts. There you go.
Whoop.
There you go. G to the E to the G, baby.
souL taking the first game.
I could watch 3 games of that. It's really good.
I hope that we get lunch and dinner if we go through 3 games of that.
I would like a chicken parm hoagie. That sounds really good. I like that. Extra meat, light on the provolone, and mozzarella, excuse me. And
A hoagie is a sandwich, right?
yes. What?
I don't know.
Do you not know English?
I don't eat hoagies, so how am I supposed to know that?
You call
Those are these eyes
what do you
of
call
judgment.
what do you call soda?
What? It's called soda.
Okay. Oof. All right.
Aren't you the one who would be more likely to call it pop or something because you're on the East
No.
Coast?
Also, the people from the South call it pop, or the middle. I don't know. Flyover states. That place Superman landed.
It's like soda, pop, and some people just call everything Coke, right?
Yeah. No, there's
Like a
there's-
Kleenex?
It goes all the way. You gotta be careful about that, man. You gotta be careful.
Never trust someone that calls it pop.
You know, if too many people refer to attacking in large groups as Zerg Rush, you don't want that to go into public domain. You know what I mean? No, that's ours. That's ours.
That's ours.
Cyber Forest.
How
One
is
of the-
this? How is this map for turtling up?
It's the worst. It's not good. That third base, whichever one you take, is going to be exposed. So as Terran, you definitely want to get some damage done. And guess what? Guess what's really good at doing damage pretty sustainably, and this map promotes.
Is it a fusion core and a battlecruiser?
Yeah. Yes, it is. The bruiser of cattle, as it were.
So at this point, I'm pretty convinced that Raynor knows what's going to be hitting him.
If I was souL, I would do this every
Yeah,
game. It
yeah.
is
I
very
think
good.
that's what he's going to do.
Biggest points about this type of style. First of all, there are ways to open very safely with this. You can do a standard battlecruiser rush and get a siege tank out with it. It does time out. If you really wanted to, you can time it out in a way.
What do you cut?
You don't have to cut anything.
Oh,
Yeah, you can squeeze it out, and you can get one. I like to do that a lot versus people who try to do those early attacks. But the biggest, most important thing is that the battlecruiser itself gives you a natural counter to fast muted play. Battlecruiser has the DPS to bring down a building Nidus Worm. It does. Also, it's going to be really sturdy and good for repair as a general defense against anything. We're just waiting for them to start this game.
we
so
get it, Nate. You like
keeping going.
battlecruisers.
No, I'm just saying the
I
reason
know.
why it's popular is
I know.
it's a Swiss Army knife opener. If you open Liberator and they go Muta, you're behind. You do some sort of weird Hellbat attack and they have any sort of defense for it, you don't have anything to respond to, like a counter Nidus, counter Mutas.
Yeah.
So that it's
Makes sense.
it's extremely versatile.
I know you're just describing what the battlecruiser build is, but the way you're describing it, I feel like you're a car salesman. It's like, look,
No,
this
don't talk
baby-
me.
this baby
No.
can get 3,000
I'm not
miles
a
per
car salesman, okay? The Battlecruiser is my son, and he's the MVP on the school's basketball team, all right? That's
okay.
what I'm talking about.
All right, so you're like LeBron building up your son.
Did you... They compared Nathanius to LeBron. You know what? Oof. You know, that's... I'm just going to
When
say
you're on
thank
your
you.
box, you just seem
I'm
so
just gonna
tall. I couldn't.
Just... Thank you. Thank you for taking me down a peg. All right, so it's Mr. Hang on, I got to pull this up. That Overlord. All right, it's blue this game, but I want everyone to imagine in their hearts that Overlord is red right now. A couple of people did tweet me. Lord Zed from Power Rangers, the Overlord skin.
I was like, we're not looking at an Overlord, Nate.
No, I'm following.
I know you're following an Overlord.
I know. It's okay. Our poor observer is like, dudes, nothing's happening in the game yet, all right? I don't have to go clicking on random garbage for you.
Awesome Sauce is sipping on his... He got like the most complicated drink from Starbucks. It was...
He drinks complicated coffees.
It was like a double chocolate mocha almond fudge cappuccino frappuccino mocha almond.
You know, that's only
latte.
legal to consume in California. Fascinatingly enough, if you order that in Texas, they take you straight to prison.
Oh,
Be
really?
careful. Yeah. That's
They have pumpkin spice lattes in Texas.
well, obviously they have all the basic stuff everywhere.
Okay.
Cyber Forest, I hate this map.
Why?
Playing Terran versus Zerg on this map is frustrating because a Zerg player who wants to try and do a brawler style, it's not bad for the Swarm Host shenanigans. If you don't get momentum with BCs early on, assuming that he goes for that again, it gets really, really hard because battlecruisers are actually very good at defending against those types of plays. But just that low ground third is very exposed, a lot of different angles to hit it on, and if you do get pushed back, the rush distance is not long. The bases are reasonably close together, but It's not so much that it's bad as I'll say, like, it's way easier to play this style on the map that we just saw, right? Like, I think it goes without saying King's Cove is probably the best Terran map in the pool, in this pool. That's my opinion.
Okay. I'll trust you on that.
A lot of the people that were, like, digging into numbers, because people like to get... There are a lot of discussions about matchups and balance, and I think a lot of the stats for King's Cove came up pretty even. It's very good. King's Cove is a very good map.
Solid map.
Cyber Forest is just really hard because if your opponent if you try to take your third too fast, and you don't have good coverage, like you can spread out and hit from multiple angles, right?
Yeah.
And it's low ground, so
just the layout between that natural and the third base, that little dip in not just this matchup, but like a lot of the matchups, it's caused problems.
I would also like to say, because I know a bunch, I would bet my life everybody in chat started saying this after I said that. Yes, the high ground is good for tank pushes from Terran as well, which is why a lot of Zerg players will clear out their own rocks pretty early on, depending on which third that they want to get, or they take the other third, which is still susceptible to tank push. I just don't think that we're going to see Bio out of souL, because Reynor is too good at the video game, and you shouldn't play Bio against him. I genuinely believe this mech style, focusing on Battlecruisers, is the best. But thankfully, I was able to curse us, and he immediately researched his stim after that.
Oh boy, I did not see that coming. I really thought this was going to be mech every single game.
I'm going to tell you what, I think he's going to win every game of mech he plays in this series, and I think he's going to lose every game of Bio. That's my prediction, because I'm never going to forget about this.
So here's
talking to Roddy about Raynor being so cheerful about opponents playing Bio.
Yeah, my stance is I wouldn't have hated, I would have been a huge fan, but I wouldn't have hated if he did it in like game 3 if he was up 2-0. But being up 1-0, I feel like souL, you're the underdog here. Take your 1-0 lead and cherish it. Don't play around too much with it.
I'm not going to say that Bio is bad, but just think back to the souL versus Thermal series.
It's Raynor. It's Raynor specifically.
Like I think back to souL Thermal, and like souL and Raynor do a lot of very similar stuff in regards to the counterattacks and whatnot, and waiting for trying to force you to attack in on them. And when you play that style as Zerg and you get any sort of momentum going, for the Terran, it feels so bad. You're like, okay, I'm just constantly stuck getting slammed by these counters, these run-bys, these Bane hits, you know, the mutas that we saw souL use, and regardless of whether that's Nidus for Raynor or he goes Mutalisks too. And then you're like, well, now I just got to try and push it Marines on creep, and I'm going to die if there's like 40 Banelings, and you know there's always going to be 40 Banelings. But the nice thing about mech against those guys is you take away their biggest weapon, which is the counterattacks, because your army is supposed to be mostly at home until you're ready to do a big push. So it's not even that it's necessarily bad or that one choice is that much better. It's what is the skill set of my opponent? My opponent is very good at counterattacking. It's kind of like I'm not surprised that a lot of the discussion around the Raynor and souL weakness has been Terran mech, because it is one of the best styles in StarCraft that can kind of, you know, give yourself a security blanket against what these players do best, and it's counterattacks.
Yeah, you're leaving a lot of those units at home. You're getting up a lot of the planetaries that we saw and everything. So it does situate yourself well for that. We're going to see if souL can still make this work. Really don't want to just paint the picture that it's impossible, but he is an underdog. And that last game, it seemed like he caught Raynor, not just with the whole like dealing with the counterattacks, because I do think he did a good job with that, but just that late game situation, it seemed like Raynor was really struggling to figure out the answer to how to handle those battlecruisers, how to handle those run-bys and the nukes and everything else.
Yeah, if I had something be that successful, I'll only say this much, is I guess maybe his goal was to do a really big 2-base push, because Cyberforce is such a hard base to take that third on. So for that reason alone, I'm okay with this. There's no creep spread over by this expansion, and the Banelings don't have speed, so they should be pretty useless at defending this right now. Just make sure you don't overstim.
Wow. That Reaper Grenade knocking the Banelings around, really allowing them to snipe up an extra 3 or 4 of them. And I have to say, souL's getting a good amount of units picked off over here.
Our mid-game Reaper is going to become a thing, Fear Dragon.
Dude, I have been clamoring for mid-game Reaper since the start of this one.
Well, it's never going to happen, but keep dreaming.
One day Terrans will build up the extra like 100 APM it requires for
All right, Fear Dragon, let's make everyone in chat get anxiety. What if there was a mid-game upgrade on the armory that made Reaper
Oh
grenades
my god.
auto-cast.
Hold on, I want to highlight
There you
the
go.
siege tank focus fire on those banelings, sniping off 3 of them before they were able to connect on those Marines.
I mean, as soon as he ran off creep to chase Marines,
Yeah.
I felt this was it's kind of a watch.
Soul's building a lot of momentum here, Nate.
No, this is the way he should have done it, though. Make everything about a giant push, because it's not like his third is actually defendable. If Reynor goes there, he will find damage, but he got
And he's going
Reynor
there now.
to attack off creep with slow banelings against stim Marines.
So the reinforcements are actually getting cut off by Raynor's lings right now. So Soul's losing a lot of units on the reinforcement path, but he's going to be able to snipe off this base. And is he going to continue moving forward? Ooh, losing 7 workers is a little bit painful.
Well, this is what I was saying. This is where the strength of Reynor is, because he's going to be able, you're going to be able to do this way more easily against Bio. Cancels the command center, kills a bunch of SCVs, kills some fighting units, and now the delayed 4th base, well, it's not so bad. It's not so bad, because he's not even on bases anymore. That 3rd is effectively just chilling. But there's the next attack is going to come up. Oh my god!
Oh, thank you, No Chambers! He's okay, he's going for the melee upgrade. The Carapace is usually the one that the Zerg players will care a little bit more about. Transfuse is coming out though. Carapace is gonna finish in time. Will the melee? No!
That is absolutely massive. That's a whole extra hit the Lings need to kill the Marines without that. And yeah, you think you're gonna get +2
He still
Carapace
has
on
the
that?
Reaper. He still has the Reaper, Nate.
Wow, amazing.
He's just pausing. I was like, wow. I need to go name this Reaper. He's looking at baby names right now.
What would you name a Reaper that's alive in the mid game? Probably some old time name, right?
Reginald or something?
Yeah.
Reginald the Reaper.
God, no, it's too fancy.
Too fancy. Yeah.
No, they
Reapers
always
are-
said Apollo because kind of like a scouting Reaper sometimes. So I guess we could,
Apollo?
yeah, they always said Sean was a little bit like that. So maybe something British corny.
Can you imagine Apollo in a Reaper suit running around?
I
'Cause
mean,
I can't.
Look, I don't need to.
I
go
love
into-
the guy, but I can't imagine it.
I could see he's like jacked now. I could see him.
He is.
I could see him climbing like mountains with that. You know, just having fun with it.
But I could see him in a Marauder outfit or something for something like that.
No.
We're back in the game, by the way, guys.
No, I could totally see him laughing while he throws grenades. Yeah, no, that's
And you do know him better than me, so. We do have the Marines continuing to focus fire down some of these Queens. Transfuses are coming out, but he's almost out of those transfuses. Oh, he's got one more. He's going to be able to clean up a majority of them. Now, the next attack is actually going to come from the bottom left-hand side. Soul just lit up some medevacs and is heading his way over, but still entrenched in this position.
Yeah, I mean, the Lings are going to come up, but any Zergling versus Marine fight is going to be crazy heavily tipped in Soul's favor.
Soul, stop moving the medevacs in the bottom left. This would have been such a golden opportunity, but I can understand. He's microing over here.
He's going to kill all the Lings.
Wow.
The Marines are still going to be able to push if he wants.
Now
A one
we're
upgrade difference like that is it's massive.
Yeah. The Hydra's coming out is going to finally help push back some of these medevacs, not just the Queens there, since the Queens are having a hard time staying alive against so many siege tanks and everything. But Marines come darting on in, stimming forward. The Queens start to go down. The medevac does get picked off, so the Hydras and the Lynx should be able to clean up those Marines. But a fair amount of damage was done there.
Yarp. Hive is on the way. As long as Soul makes some sort of transition or does a big death push soon.
He's going to have 2-2 done before Raynor gets up a second upgrade.
Unless he attacks very soon to take advantage of that, I'm not as concerned about it. The fact that he's going to be behind on the melee upgrade no matter what, still, that's probably the most deeply bothering thing. The Banelings and the Hydras help make up for it.
Dropping right onto the Hydras. The Hydras do actually focus fire down one of the medevacs. So Soul's going to have to be a bit careful.
There are no Banelings here. Goodbye, spawning pool.
Is
Everyone say goodbye. Goodbye, pool.
Well, you know, it's a little bit of a problem if you're going for a Baneling style that you don't have any Zerglings.
It's so easy to trade out versus that too because they don't have the upgrades.
Oh boy, and there's no Banelings down over here either, so the Queen gets picked off. Now the medevacs are safe. He picks up
You go back into the main and then you're taking advantage of your 2-2. Then you're going to have like that 10-second window where you might fight with +2 attack and they don't even have the +1 armor and you have +2 armor. Ooh.
Okay, almost starts taking a fight over there. The Hydras show up though.
Man, I love Soul. This
Soul is really impressive.
This match today, it feels a bit like a love letter to Nathanius, and he's got He's got building armor in this game, in this match. He's gotten battle cruisers. And you know what he's doing now? He built sensor towers at all his bases because he doesn't want to lose all of his units to run bys. And I think that's a smart play. I don't want to lose all my units to run bys. And souL is, you know, he's really projecting that in his gameplay.
I'm not going to lie, Nate. The way that I actually saw souL winning the series is the fact that I think Reynor didn't look like he was in top form at GSL vs. the World. But I have to say, I think Reynor isn't actually playing that poorly. souL's just really, really playing his top form.
souL's beast moding. Are the new war chest skins for Terran too powerful? Find out today. Click on the war chest thingy in the chat.
It's in the top left.
There you go.
This base was a little bit important. Just gonna go down. Yeah, Reynor's starting to bleed out. He's actually supply blocked now from losing overlords.
Drop that main. There's Hydras waiting there in case he tries it, but I want to see it anyway. No, it's just Lings. Go!
You still go for it?
Punch it.
It's a little bit. I mean, he could just take it slow, right?
Oh, don't start quoting Battlecruiser.
Boop, boop, boop. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Those medevacs are really, really hurt up now.
Yeah, and you just click on them. You select your
just gonna go
you just select your Vipers. You just click on the medevacs and they all die. Feels amazing, man.
We do have adrenal glands getting close to finishing up over here. So Reynor is still hanging in there, but he is sitting down 30 supply. And I think just the fact that he was able to soften up the medevacs actually did buy him a little bit more time as souL retreats on home. But the Greater Spire, is that going to be able to make the difference here?
It could, very well, yeah. I mean, the siege tanks are going to be useless once there's enough broodlords, so you need the ghosts, but then the banelings become a factor, right? And where is the support for this army that isn't siege tanks? Good answer, Fear Dragon. There is none, exactly. Yep. So you need to do something with these tanks before the broods come out and continue to just make this transition into Ghost Liberator. He's actually on his way to the 9 orbital build again, too, so... He should be at 9 orbital commands very soon.
There's the fusion core as well, so...
Yeah.
Banelings on creep should be able to push back this army a little bit, but there is another drop on the south side of the map that's unloading on that hatchery that was trying to get up. I think a handful of Lings are getting ready to defend that south side attack. Yeah, there it is.
This is it, though. These are the final moments before the Broodlords are going to change the
area upgrade Marines
makeup of this match. So use those tanks, blast this hatch down, because the broods, they're coming.
5 about to finish. They're literally seconds away from finishing. The Marines are focus firing down the hatchery, but Reynor is sending in the banelings. He does manage to get out those broodlords. The Marines are trying to target fire down one of them. He manages to get them. There should still be 4 more with 2 more on the way. Another broodlord gets sniped off. souL's trading out a lot of Marines for these, though.
There's not enough broodlords just yet.
Oh, those blinding clouds. Okay, I think that might allow him to push through.
Good Viper usage. Oh, he's going to get all the medevacs, too, there.
And he cleaned up the drop on the south side.
Oh, no. So. Okay. You know what? Yeah, like I said. The game's with Stim. He's building Vikings. It's going downhill real fast.
If there's one thing I've learned about you from these studio broadcasts, Nate.
You know what my favorite thing is? I say, hey, can you send me the last WCS VOD where a Zerg player that had anti-air units lost when Terran built like over 10 Vikings? There's none actually. Did you know that statistically Terran players who panic build Vikings as a reaction to Zergs generally lose? The best answer to broodlords is ghosts. It's ghosts and battlecruisers.
Believe it.
Or if the Zerg player just doesn't have corruptors for some reason. There was a game where that happened.
I could also see that. Or they just make all broodlords. Every corruptor becomes a broodlord.
Yes, because and then the infested Terrans would normally kill them.
Yeah. 3 more command centers on the way. So I mean, souL still got. I mean, he's heading.
He's on his way to 9. He's only got 6 orbitals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna unsub from his Twitch stream if I don't see 9 orbitals in every single game in this best of 5. Okay.
Did he even really play a game of StarCraft if he didn't get 9 orbitals?
I'm just glad that you understand me, Fear Dragon. I'm just glad that you understand me.
Like, I mean, an 8 orbital build. That's basically a cheese. That's basically an all-in.
I mean, if you look at me, if you look at what's going on in this game, Raynor looks like he's going for a 5-base broodlord all-in. Okay.
What is the latest gameplay that you've done that's been called an all-in?
I'm just gonna say it. I mean, all in can be, doesn't need to, there's no definition of what actually constitutes it. You could make an all in play on an 8-base split map scenario.
You could pull all of your workers on 8 bases and it'd be an all in.
No, but an equivalent of I don't have a backup plan.
Siege tanks unsiege, getting caught. The Banelings chasing down these ghosts that are mostly on their own. They
medevac to pick him out.
He doesn't have any medevacs on that side, but he keeps most of them alive. They absorb the Baneling hits.
This was actually good for him. He finally got rid of all those pesky siege tanks. Now he can build more other units. Advanced ballistics. I'd like to see him build BCs, but I was completely lost my train of thought actually.
I'm talking about the all-in idea.
Yeah. If I had 15 battlecruisers and I teleported them all onto your main hive, like assuming that I hadn't just won a huge battle, like that could be an all-in type play because I'm doing it not being 100% sure, right? Unless you are, of course, but. You can make YOLO plays late game that you would 100% lose if they didn't work, you know?
Well, that's YOLO's different than saying I win the game on this move or I lose the game on this move, right? That's what all-in is.
Yeah. Teleporting your BCs over Corruptor Infestor is saying that. You're like, I think I'm going to do it.
Parasitic Bombs coming out and a nice split up on that single Viking. The Vipers are really diving far for this. The Vikings are going to be able to snipe those off. The Banelings now encountering the Planetary Fortress. They are still running forward, though, fearlessly, and they are going to get that Planetary.
Yep. Now, we have managed to reach that magical situation where there are no Corruptors, so the Vikings are going to kill a Broodlord or two, but they, the rest of the units did their jobs. Same time, a bunch of drones died somewhere.
Where is SouL's? There's SouL's supply. I was going to say he's up 30 or so supply, and he's going to be able to right-click down that hive.
Yeah. And this command center is going to die. He's about to drop another 10 supply. All those SCVs are going to die. The nukes. The nukes, Mason! What do they mean?
Oh, the Liberator is going to make it very difficult for Reynor to try and bust down that ramp. At the same time, it does look like the drops got pushed back.
I'm astonished. The Viper control was pretty good.
Whoa,
He just lost 42 drones in the last minute.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I think he also just lost a tech structure. I'm not sure what it was. He lost.
See what happens when the map.
Did he lose his second spawning pool? Yeah, he lost his spawning pool again. He doesn't have a spawning pool.
Shame.
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 All right, so I did get an amazing tweet from someone. They said, I would love to see a ghost nuke a ghost at range who is calling a nuke down, using the ghost as trap.
That'd be pretty
That's
sick.
some 5,000 IQ stuff right there. I had to share that with you.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
The orbital,
your own ghost.
the great orbital wall that has small little holes inside of it, does eventually get pushed back. That's a, you know, this is in some ways it's worse than like Great Wall of China, but in some ways you can relocate this wall. That's kind of better.
The Great Wall of China would be a little bit overpowered if it could lift up and move. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's a pretty.
Imagine you're just like, I'm gonna retreat the wall.
It's a pretty large structure. But you know what though? I don't know, man. Because if there's even like, you know, a Zergling in the way, it won't be able to land.
That's true. The Great Wall can't land on a single individual. Banelings and the Lings and the Hydras gonna be able to knock down that planetary. SouL pulled back though from the south side of the map. He looked like he was geared up to just go for kind of a bit of a trade there, but instead decides to pull back up and says maybe doesn't really have enough back at home to defend.
This game should be over. I mean, it should be.
He's really far ahead.
SouL is in an amazing position right now, and he's continuing to get these nukes.
Okay.
He's you know, it's a little bit of a. Yeah, he's like, he needs one bad play. If SouL screws up and like loses half this army once, that'll be nice. But considering that like he can't even build Lings because he lost his spawning pool again, you know, stuff like that is definitely getting in his way. Not being able to build Zerglings when your name is Raynor, that's a problem.
Yeah, took him a really long time to notice as well. And we're gonna see the top right-hand base got canceled. SouL is mining from the bottom left-hand base.
That's a really. I'm not looking up.
Oh god, that hatchery dying on top of the nuke that's coming down at the natural. Raynor's not gonna have almost any mining soon.
Yeah, no, he's about to make it rain. Throws an EMP. He does actually whiff.
Oh my god, parasitic bomb all those liberators.
The Hydras are getting them from the sides. There's still not a great answer without like Ghosts. There's really still not a great answer.
Three hatcheries, by the way. The Baneling nest also just died.
Goodbye, Baneling Nest.
Another
one.
Wait, hold on. That hatchery
Another
that's getting nuked is also going to get very, very low.
That queen's trying to kill it. That's funny, queen. You only have +1 attack.
I think it's in. Oh no, it was barely out of range of the nuke. Well, if that hatchery dies, then Raynor would be down to 2 bases.
The Broodlords are. The Broodlords are all that.
Okay, well there's a big attack from souL on the bottom center base, and that's gonna snipe up a hatchery. Raynor now has 1.5 hatcheries.
Nice.
souL loses the planetary, but I mean he's got fresh mining on the bottom left-hand base.
So do you think he's being forced into a 5-base Broodlord all-in now?
He is being forced into a 5-base Broodlord all-in against the 10 orbital.
Oh! Mom, get the camera!
Pop, pop.
Wow, look at that. One goes
Two
for 2
Broodlords.
Broodlords.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Not
next.
a bad trade. Raynor's trying to reestablish the top right-hand base and get some semblance of mining. I want to just watch that mineral tab. It's not going very fast. It's about 5 minerals a second.
He's finally got some income, though, so that he's got that going for him, which is nice. He's just, no. The thing is, souL hasn't even been that cost-efficient this game, because I don't think nukes show up in resources lost, but the resource loss is very even. So with the nukes, like, they've traded evenly in terms of resources, so this is not still completely out of hand. But
well, this is not resource efficient, but he's going to keep it alive.
It costs a lot to repair a planetary like that.
It does. But he keeps it alive, and that's definitely going to be nice.
souL doesn't have gas, as weird as this game has begotten.
That bottom left-hand base is going to give him gas, though. If he can snipe off, well, actually, he's going to head over to the main base. He's just going to kill the hive. Maybe?
Oh, yeah.
If he kills that hive, by the way, there's no creep tumors over here. Just want to note that for all that tech.
No, that hive. He's got energy
gone.
uses, but yeah, there's no. Yeah, we're saving that from the men with the guns. Those are +3 attack Space Marine Sphere Dragon.
If only Zerg buildings could get carapace upgrades. Ooh, nice Baneling connections.
If only we had Statelites in ladder.
Statelites. All right, well, the main base for Raynor is going to gradually lose that creep, and gradually those buildings will start dying if he doesn't respread it.
You want to know what really would have helped lock this one in for souL earlier, rather than building 25 Vikings to get blown up for 3? Yeah, it is Battlecruiser Sphere Dragon. It's Battlecruiser. I'm not wearing hockey pads.
He has a lot of medevacs here. Are those all his medevacs? Okay, yeah.
Well, considering the state of this game, this is where Bio has an advantage against Mech, where squeezing out when you have only minerals and no gas, Marines are still always going to be good units, whereas Hellions suck, but...
He's not making Marines, though. He's making Vikings.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, don't worry. He's also spending some of those minerals to get up a... what is that? Is that the... he's remaking his 10th orbital.
The nukes are the MVPs of this game.
And down goes another hatch.
Another one.
Boom. It's a good thing that Raynor has so few resources that he's not larva starved.
Well, he's like, you've nuked the base, but there's no money anyway.
Nothing was being made in the first place. The bottom center base looks like it's gonna have a Ling run by there. So, ooh, catches the planter before it's finished morphing.
You do want to save those Zerglings, Raynor.
Yeah. Army does get there in time, though.
Man, I'd like to see this. I'd like to see that happen while there's a big assault on like the main. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, he's
all
gonna
the tech.
find all the tech. And now Raynor also has to decide if he wants to continue defending this army pushing forward, or if he wants to defend the tech. Spawning pool's gonna go down again. But the Greater Spire,
he can't rebuild any of the tech.
He doesn't even have a lair. He can't even respread the creep here with overlords. So even just the little bits of damage he did to those buildings, like that infestation pit, taking some damage.
He can't build Zerglings again.
He can't build Corruptors anymore, or Broodlords. Gotta keep those alive now.
Yeah.
He does still have his infestation pit for a little bit longer, and with the lair, I think, now finished, he could start up a hive immediately. But he doesn't really have the gas for it. Would you start up the hive to get a Vipers in this situation? What would you get right now to round out your composition as Raynor?
Money? He needs money.
What would you spend that money on?
If I could get more... I don't know. Actually, it's really, really hard to tell right now.
It is really tough.
Mobility is a problem for him.
Yeah. Okay, well, this, of course, is going to be doing a lot of damage to the tech. We see on the top left-hand side, the bases for souL getting taken out slowly but surely. And Raynor's actually going to try and establish the top center base. Now, Raynor has a very immobile army. By losing all this stuff in the bottom right, all of his stuff is, for the most part, going to be in the top right-hand corner. So this might actually start to benefit him. If he can kind of condense himself into one area against the bio, he can get on top of the production by just defending that top center area.
The Broodlords are still like the key unit here. Oh my goodness, he's very
Oh, that Baneling Nest! It's so close.
so hard to say what's a good trade and what's a
15
bad trade.
points.
Oh no, not again!
Oh, no. Okay, he's gonna notice it. The Ghost does get picked off before it can go to that Baneling Nest and snipe it off.
Holding on by a thread.
Yeah.
And this army, I feel that the army is better for Raynor, but now he's been bled out enough that there may not be enough to actually deal with that. Good
Parasitic bomb. Nice split.
The biggest issue is if he yeets himself to the Vipers, he can blow them up. But huge, massive flank coming in with the Banelings to try and crash down everything. If he can get to the Ghost, then it's going to be really, really hard for him to get snipes off. But
a lot of the Ghosts still survive.
The Hydras being alive is still really important, though, for to keep the Vikings back too.
But
Everything
all these
has
Vikings are annihilating all the Vipers. And now we're going to just see very, very barren Broodlords. This was the final bit of army here for Raynor. So souL goes up 2-0, the underdog, becoming the overdog.
Well, I'll tell you what, when a guy who basically has his own brand of Zerglings because of how good he is with them, you know, not everybody gets a sponsorship deal like that.
Yeah.
When he doesn't have a spawning pool, it's really hard.
That's a problem. He didn't notice he lost his second spawning pool for a solid 2 to 3 minutes, too.
Yep. And you're like, okay, I'm going to make Banelings, and let's add some more No.
I thought they were making. Yeah.
No.
That's definitely became a problem, but I have got to say, souL really, really impressed me. souL is just playing out of his mind well.
He's playing really
And I
well.
want to reemphasize, as he's sitting up 2-0, he's one game away from advancing on the semifinals. He has never, in the past, ever since like WCS Challenger existed, souL has never made round of 4. And round of 4, again, is the big one. Round of 4 is where you get that hotel and flight and everything paid for to Montreal for WCS Fall. And that's the big one for the Europeans here, because that's the one that's not in Europe. That's the one that you actually really want all those costs kind of alleviated.
Yeah, come hang out in Montreal. And another wonderful thing that you can come get and hang out with, ladies and gentlemen, are skins in StarCraft. That's right. We already talked to you about this one, but we're going to talk to you about it again. Have you ever wanted an antenna plugged into your head and lost all ability to control yourself because, let's face it, you're too lazy to do anything anyway? Join us with the Kerberos Hydralisk, available in the new season of the War Chest, where your units can be autonomous monsters controlled by you instead of you.
Is it Kerberos or Cerberus?
Whatever way is wrong to say it is what I'm going for.
Oh, okay, then you're getting it correct. Because I'm looking at the name, and I think it's Cerberus.
Yeah, it's fun to say Kerberos though.
That's okay.
There's some people who take that mythology really seriously.
You can take after Artosis and mispronounce literally everything.
Yeah. All right. Apparently, we need to go to a quick break because that Hydralisk skin was actually too overwhelming for some of our viewers and our players. We'll be right back in a few minutes to talk to you about more StarCraft. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. It's not just our world though, it's every world. Did you know that? There are no official StarCraft leagues that we know of anywhere else in our galaxy or the rest of the universe.
In the entire observable universe, this is the pinnacle StarCraft 2.
This is it. We've got the best StarCraft in the universe right here on planet Earth, and we are so glad to have you here. I'm Nathanius, joined by Fear Dragon. Game 3 is counting down. Kairos Junction. I think pretty balanced map. TVZ-wise, there's a lot you can do on both ends, and so far, hell of a series out of SouL.
Let me ask you something, Nate.
Talk to me.
We saw the mech in Game 1. We saw the bio in Game 2. I already know the answer to this, but which one looks stronger to you from SouL?
Zoom in on the Overlord. Do it. Do it. This right here. That evil Lord Zed or whatever we were talking about.
Does it have 4 eyes?
Well, when you're a machine, they can put as many cameras on there as they want, I guess. You know, it's like one of those like virtual reality trackers.
Well, I don't know, man. If you have ever used some of those Logitech webcams, I feel like those Logitech webcams use a lot of CPU.
Well, you know, whether you can get the onboard decoding is a whole other argument to be had. But they do get the job done. I mean, for what they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are industry standard, so. Oh, okay.
So it's going to be a Reaper expand and some variety of. We'll see if he goes like hatch gas pool or if he builds 4 hatcheries and we find out that cats took over his body or worked into him or something.
Yeah, the onus is definitely actually on Raynor at this point to try and change up how these games have been going. What do you feel like has gone wrong for Raynor in this series so far?
He's playing against SouL. So I think.
But I mean, Raynor was the huge favorite here, right?
Okay, let's talk about what Raynor's good at. Counterattacks, Ling Bane playing flanks. Cats said something very interesting when I went during our little break. I went to grab a quick bite of our hot food because it always comes out while you're casting, right? Yeah. So whoever's casting, you're like, I don't want it to go cold. Anyway, I digress. I see Cats, and Cats is like, do you want to mention on air how SouL gets really far ahead and then just builds 10 orbital commands and slows the game down? And I said, that's exactly how you lose. Because the reason why I think SouL is able to take this is because he gets an edge and then slows it down so that he can. SouL is not trying to avoid the late game, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He wants to play a long game, but he is also not going like full NA. I'm going to open 3CC with tanks and try to tech up to something while doing nothing against
He's gonna get there safely.
He wants to, no, not even that. He wants to deal damage and then go into the late game with a lead. And we see that there's been a recurring theme in this series, in these games when there's some early fights and whatnot, whether it's the BC poke or it's that big Marine Hellion attack he did on Cyber Forest, but he gets ahead, and then the late game armies from Raynor are always missing something. Because Raynor is not going into the late game rich. He's not walking into the Gucci store with $10 million saying, like, I want it all, you know? He's either got Broodlords or he's got some Vipers, but he never has everything. He doesn't have Broodlords and Infestors and Vipers. He does, you know, he doesn't have Corruptors, right? He's been missing something. And if he had a bit more money last game and he could round out the army that he did have, oh yeah, that's a totally different ending. That goes completely different. So, and that a lot of it comes down to SouL, like Tilly, that 4th base. And the one moment that SouL tried to push a little bit too hard, we saw Raynor immediately ransacked his 3rd, right? We saw the 9 SCVs die, the orbital got lifted, mules were killed. So you do need to be careful about how you do it. That's all I'm going to say. But I think that's been the big thing. Don't open the door for the guy who's good at counterattacks and backstabs to counterattack and backstab.
He has done a very good job of making sure that does not happen. And just got to do it one more time. And then he gets to move on to the round of 4.
People talk about Zerg dominance, but I think especially versus Terran, the recurring theme of all of them. Obviously, some Terrans just, you know, you don't play very well or you just get super outplayed in like a normal engagement-based game. But the biggest recurring theme between like souL and Raynor, if someone was like, what do you always notice about their games? Counterattacks. Yeah. Counterattacks. Lots of Lings on the map. Terran players stepping on creep and immediately getting backstabbed by Lings with Banes. All that good stuff.
It's going to be that bio again this game, by the way. So SouL's going to play it out like the last game as opposed to the first one. Still likes to go even with the bio, as we saw, up to like the crazy orbital counts and everything, but he didn't do it, like you said, like rushing to it. He was trying to get damage done. He had a more normal-ish opening, and then eventually led into that kind of late game situation.
I mean, look at this, right? He's taking 3 gas at once, so he got everything done beforehand, and he's going into bio. And this is a bit more of a passive opening, and I don't mind it. I really don't. I think trying to be crazy aggressive against a player like Reynor can be really risky, because you can make the arguments about giving a Zerg too much time, and I'll say this is going to be the weakest opening that he's done so far, because he's not going to have that same number of units hitting the... I guess, honestly, if he's still aiming to deny a 4th base, he could be there. He could be there. He can time this out to be a bit similar to Cyber Forest, which you don't want to lose those Hellions, because those were very integral to his success. Bane speed is going to be much faster this game, though.
Oh, yeah. Getting up that layer very, very quick.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot from Reynor. Also, just get the creep out by the 4th. That's going to be huge, because there was no creep on Cyber Forest.
How many queens does he have? Yeah, it's just the 5 queens.
It's just the 5 queens, actually.
Sending them around. Combat shields get started on up. The Hellions are going to be idling in the center of the map, but Raynor's definitely got some time to start building up that Ling count to help deal with that.
You can't mine. Sorry, this isn't the bugged Dahaka Zergling. Did you know that?
No.
You guys missed out on a fun time when they released Dahaka. His Zerglings could mine at first.
What?
Yep.
Could they could return the resources?
Yep.
That's actually amazing.
The official strategy was once you got enough income, you actually only built drones to make buildings, and you would kill all of your own drones so that you could put the supply into Zerglings to mine your resources instead.
That's how many speedlings saturated a mineral line?
Like 11.
Yeah, they move so
fast. Yeah, they still can't mine over each other.
Oh, that's so sick. That's a cool.
They can mine gas too.
And you get adrenal glands and they mine even faster.
You only needed 2 to mine. He doesn't have that as an upgrade for your dragon. I expect you to know better.
Okay. I haven't played much Dahaka. Woo!
Counterattacks. You want to move out on the map? This is where Reynor shines. I was waiting for this.
This is really problematic. He is so far out of position now to deal with this. He loses 8 workers, going to lose some supply depots. But Baneling's got to defend over here, and as soon as souL retreats off of creep, Reynor cannot give chase anymore.
The Overlord sees that the tank is closing in and is going to siege up again. Does not want to dive on it just yet.
Should he pick off those? Is it worth picking off creep tumors here right now?
Yes, it is. But
not going to have time.
And already some stark differences from the last game in that 4th base is not going to get killed. He's not going to trade out against a bunch of slow Banes. Remember, Baneling speed was very slow last game. And things looking way better for Reynor, because not only did he get those worker kills, and souL still has a good SCV count. Like 57 is fine. It's going to take him like maybe 2 or 3 more production cycles to get up his worker count back to 66, which is where you want it to be. Scans and sees the hive is on the way. It's a great thing to spot.
Yep.
Just need to get the 4th cemented. Now, like as a Terran, you want to get your 4th set up. Maybe do a little bit of Liberator shift click harass, but be careful with sending out your Marines. Be careful with sending out that bio, because next thing you know, you're going to be flowing a ton of gas, because all you're trying to do is build Marines, and you actually get supply blocked. Really nasty supply block. Yeah. I just noticed he was at he was stuck at 117 for a whole 21 seconds there.
That's going to hurt. Another thing that's going to be a bit different from the last game is that Raynor's not going to have his his melee upgrades heavily delayed by losing his Evo chamber or something.
Well, there's a whole lot of things looking way better for Reynor this game. It also helps that his 4th base that he was defending did not have the evolution chambers next.
Yes. That definitely could have been a problem. But Reynor is looking super strong, and his creep spread has been really on point. This game is already nearly over by the 3rd base of souL. souL is trying to clean up some of this. He's going to actually run into a lot of the army up on that high ground. Focus fires down one of the Banelings, picks up, gets out of there. And we're going to see some Liberators coming on out to try and complement this army a bit earlier than we saw in the last game.
It's terrifying, by the way, because the tanks, there's not a ton of them, and they're a little bit spread out, so he could actually try to smash through that depot wall if he really wanted to, but this is what I wanted to see. Yeah, bring them Liberators. Siege it. Okay, you can keep going, that's fine.
He sets up in the natural. He's going to be able to snipe off a handful of drones here, as Reynor is a bit late to react. He's busy dealing with all the drops. 7 workers go down. Reynor asks for a pause so he can recollect himself after those terrible, terrible losses. All right, he's ready to go.
Okay, he just needed a moment.
Yeah.
His whole life flashed before his eyes.
He was like,
Ooh, fun.
goal! All right.
Game on!
Another one of those Liberators behind that low ground up close to the main base. Just outside the range of that Queen, but guess what? The Marines come to complement it!
That's
Power play. That's the power of teamwork.
all right. There's gonna be yeah. No, that's a sick play right there.
Even actually finding a big Overlord cove.
Hey, Fear Dragon, it's your favorite. There's a Reaper here. One Reaper.
Oh my god. If he launches the
grenade?
Banelings, he can buy himself
What if
time!
he launched a Queen into the...
Oh yeah, that would also be good.
Well, that
Actually, relying a lot of
that
my
Liberators generated some value.
Wow, and yeah, and I was gonna snipe off a bunch more drones over here. Picks up into the medevacs, only lost one Marine. The Marines just complimenting the Liberators is really working out.
Yeah. Guess what's not happening anymore?
Mining at half the bases.
Counterattacks, too.
Ah, that's a good point. And souL is in the center of the map, cleaning up some of the creep, while he also pokes away over here, defends that Liberator, and might be able to snipe off that Ultralisk Cavern. Ultralisk Cavern is still researching chitinous plating. If you right-clicks it down, there it is.
Amazing grab. Yeah, I like it.
I think he's gonna get it. I don't even see units on the minimap coming this way.
Nope. Just now.
Boom. No chitinous. Those ultras are not gonna be what Raynor wants right now.
Well, especially if he continues to clear the creep up. Don't forget as well that means there will be no
Ultra speed.
Anabolic synthesis.
No, that's definitely gonna be a big problem. 17 workers going down, and suddenly it does seem like souL has really pulled himself back up by his bootstraps and started making a bit of a comeback in this
Look
game.
at this wall too. Beautiful. So you're gonna try to funnel a lot of Lingbane Ultra through some very tight choke points.
Baneling still gets on top of a lot of those Marines. The siege checks up at the high ground.
Yeah, but the Marines will.
Back.
The
The Ultras!
Worried about
The Ultras couldn't even make it through.
They're dummy thick and they can't fit between buildings.
Queens are here to try and transfuse them or something, but none of them even really got involved in the fight. None of them are damaged.
It's the way to do it. It's funny because like there's still been really good close trades because neither player has a clear advantage in upgrades or tech or economy even really. Like they both replenished everything. The Liberator's gonna come up and do the pokey again.
Yeah. Well, I think Raynor had a solid 30 or 35 army supply lead, but after that last engagement, souL's definitely closed that gap quite a bit.
I love this multi-Liberator harass.
This is doing a lot. He even sniped off one of the drones that tried to become a spore.
This is what it feels
Kill
like
another
to warp
queen?
in 10 charge lots into someone's base. It's a
Oh
good
boy.
feeling. It's a good feeling. Now the Ultras are going to try and counter here.
This is a big choke point. This is a big
There's
choke
still
point
no
again.
chitinous. The Marines are happy to fight the Ultras if they can get,
Yeah.
if they can clear the Banes out.
Yeah, I mean, forget the Liberators. Yeah, you're right. The Marines are actually okay with maybe taking on those Ultras. 3-3 is also getting closer and closer to finishing. He might actually finish up 3-3 before chitinous.
I still think that there's like a moment here where you try to make the end game tech transition. I don't know. I'm just crazy. Nathanius just can't.
But
get his
can
shit
you
done.
make that transition if you only have 4 orbitals, Nate?
No.
No.
You can't.
Impossible. You need at least 5 more.
Just imagine how annoying it would be to throw like bigger airplane with like Liberator range or BCs, honestly. That the Ultras get onto.
If there were, yeah, if there were more Liberators, I think it would definitely become problematic. Because Raynor has nothing to answer that. He's getting up the Spire now, but as of this moment, there is nothing to really answer a lot of air.
There is a downside to this much aggression. He's not really that far ahead in resources lost, so as cool as all this harass has looked, he's traded out a lot of resources to make it happen, and that's why he's not sitting on a bank.
Yep. Killing a lot of drones, but Raynor has plenty of larvae to remake those. He's still up at a solid 75 or so, and I think he's finally looking like he's going to be able to get on the aggressive again.
Yep.
Maybe?
Well, Corruptors are going to come out and start pushing that back, and then souL, he wants to catch him on his back foot. Yeah, he wants to catch him on his back foot where he's trying to build Ghosts but doesn't actually have that many yet.
Baneling's not going to be wasted on that supply depot wall. And up on the high ground, the Bio's trying to defend. The Marauders soak up a lot of those Baneling hits. The Ultra's going to be able to cleave on through. Running into the natural now. souL in suddenly a bit of pickle here. Is getting very spread out. Some ghosts are coming into the fray, but a big double drop on the left-hand side of the map is getting some damage done.
Yep, I like this though. He's moved too many of his units out. Like souL just kept taking. He didn't really have like the supply or the income that he wanted, and he just kept throwing his units at Reynor. And then Reynor at some point is like, I have built up enough that I can go for a really big counterattack, and he does. He hits all the bases at once. He clears out a lot. And I mean, everything for souL I think is actually still quite okay, despite everything that we've seen thus far.
He's actually not that far behind supply. He's going to be able to snag another Ultra over here. Oh my god! Fearless SCVs.
Could you imagine? It was like, all right, we need 10 of you guys to literally walk through that giant elephant with tusks.
Hey, Nate, did that Ultralisk have purple packs of like some liquid on their back?
Yeah, well, they've got.
Sauce? Can we get a shot?
The Ultralisks are indeed plugged in. Yes, they have.
Oh my god.
Those are like little fusion.
Oh, when they die, they become purple. They're blue right now, but I think because I think it turned purple when he died. I could be wrong.
It's possible that it oxidizes in a.
Oh, that's actually so
Pretty
cool. That's less cool. Watching the medevacs die like that is not good.
It just bothers me because the Ultralisk can't be mind controlled or frenzied. Yet somehow we could plug a. Radio Shack antenna into its back, and all of a sudden, it's, you know what I mean?
Well, you have to be susceptible to a psi emitter still.
Are they? That just means humans are better than aliens, right? Aliens, they can't mind control each other, but we can still mind control them.
Well, actually, they can mind control us. Neuroparasite?
Yeah, but... Yeah.
Oh, that ghost almost out of energy. It's going to go for the nuke.
Honestly,
oh my! So close.
I think the humans just do it out of politeness at this point. The other 7,000 people on the Battlecruiser are like, well, if the captain's gone senile, we should just let him do it.
That ghost survived long enough to wow.
He did.
The Ultra was attacking it for a while. I guess it got move commanded somewhere.
And the SF2 is an insidious killer, ladies and gentlemen. Z4 Marauder drop.
souL gonna find a fresh base over here. Doesn't decide to go after it. Big attack comes in from Raynor over on the south side of the map. Finds the mass swell of orbitals that have just recently finished up. Now, want to note, it's only 6 right now. It's not quite up to 9.
No, and if he loses this game, we will make a note that he did not have 9 orbitals.
But that's where the entirety of the plan fell apart.
Yep.
He's not having 9.
Yep.
You might have 7, or actually he's going to have 7 in a second. Might have 8 soon. But not quite 9.
Watching an unupgraded Queen attack a Red Health Marauder for 20 minutes was the highlight of my day.
That was the highlight of your day?
Yep.
Not like some of the nukes that hit the half of the army, or
no,
it's that specific moment right there.
No.
Okay.
It's kind of like the inverse law of ninjas or whatever. When there's that many nukes, that hitting a nuke doesn't become. It's not as impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, it's expected at a certain point.
Yeah. But when there's only like 1 nuke and you kill like 11 Broodlords with it, well.
Marauder run by?
If you spend 3,000 resources, 3,000 minerals and 3,000 gas on nukes, and you're like, oh, I killed some Ravagers. I'm like, no, sorry, that doesn't actually. They land like 3 more of those, and then I'll be impressed.
Well, Vindicta's, NA, so we'll maybe see more NA. Well, actually, he's not really playing tomorrow. We'll see him next time. We'll see him in Montreal. We'll see him in Montreal.
Okay, maybe.
I'm pretty sure we will.
Focus the Banes. Oh, good shot with the tanks. Good.
Ah! Awkward orbital. Or command center.
At building armor.
I love that the
Corruptors...
A lot of Ultras going down very quickly there. The Balins come in really late as well. And most of them die before they make range. Okay, that's a bit of a problem for Raynor, and now suddenly souL can reclaim a lot of ground here.
Oh my god.
I was saying though, I love that the corruptors have these little jetpacks on them.
That resources loss is really good. Yep, no, the corruptor jetpacks look great. I've accepted. I've had too much fun casting this series where Terran was probably gonna win 3-0. So I'm like, I already know the hate train thread is coming for me. So I'm just gonna fully embrace it. What an exciting match to watch. souL has played the most flawless Terran versus Zerg.
I'm really, really happy for souL right now. I hope that he can close this out. I'm going to show a little bit of my caster bias because souL has been one of those players that I think has been hyped up for a long time by a lot of other players as being someone that is very good but then just never shows up in the tournaments.
I also
defend this.
I mean, I also do want to see Reynor pull something out here because, you know, 3 more games of this sounds awesome. 2 more games of this sounds awesome.
The Ultras are still alive right now, and a lot of the bio has been taken out, and I think you just might be getting your wish, Nate, as Raynor finally busts on through very, very cost efficiently, having a majority of his army still alive. He's going to continue to plow forward. souL just can't get it up in the army fast enough.
Yep, needs to get the Ghost somewhere safe where it can actually try to use steady targeting, but really good focus fire there. Gets rid of one of them. Planetary is trying to hold on another snipe, but it's not enough to... Oh my god. Everything and the kitchen sink for your dragon. Goodness gracious.
A lot of tanks now.
What a use of granite countertops.
That is a lot of... Are these just siege tanks that were left over from earlier?
He's had them spread out the whole game, yeah.
I guess he just unsieged them all and was like, all right, I need everything to stay alive. Unfortunately, staying alive is pretty much the entire encapsulation of what he's going to be able to do here.
Well, you know what? Raynor lost when he lost 42 drones. souL only lost 41 SCVs. And guess how many SCVs he has left? 41. There you go. The truth is out there.
If you dig deep enough, you can find the way that he wins this. Siege tanks annihilating a lot of the banelings, but of course the Ultras and the Lings are going to get on top of those. They're going to get cleaned up. The Bioforce is going to get cleaned up, and souL's going to get cleaned up. 100 supply down. GG! Raynor finally puts one on the board.
That's a hard-fought battle. Shower of blood of Ultralisks blowing up and banelings with acid raining all over him.
Yeah.
Nasty way to go.
souL really started making the comeback happen, though, because he had a you were talking about this, compared to the other games, not nearly as good of a start. But he still found a couple of opportunities.
Once he started to get back into Ghosts, things looked good. But he did some solid damage early with the bio, and then we're like 4 base versus 4 base or 5 base versus 5 base.
Yeah.
But then you realize it's very hard to end games versus Zerg with bio unless you really get like 1 or 2 money baneling connections off the tanks, and that's what happened. Because everything started to look better for him once he realized, he's like, all right, I got to pump the brakes. I got to stop I have a lot of money and I'm building a lot of stuff, but I'm actually throwing away. Like, as every unit came out, he's like, get in a medevac, go die.
Yeah.
And then Raynor's like, he's got a lot of bases, but he has fed me like 50 army supply.
I don't have to attack you if you just keep giving me your units.
Yeah. And then he goes for the counterattack anyway, and that's where he gets a lot of damage done, pulling the Terran back, messing with the infrastructure, and... I'm just going to say it again. The more opportunities you give Raynor to counterattack, better chance he has of winning. Ergo, the game we just watched.
Okay, our next map is going to be Thunderbird.
Third bird?
I like to call it Third Bird.
Like thoroughbred or just the third bird? Like there's 3 birds and it's the third of 3?
I think it would be the third of 3, which does imply there's at least 3 birds, but possibly more.
Yeah, well you can have a third bird and there be significantly more than 3.
How many?
It could be the third bird out of 100.
That's true. How many? What is the optimal number of birds, Nate?
Well, 3 is a power number, 7 is a magic number, 13 is a cursed number. If the birds were crows, 13 would be more appropriate.
7 is also a cursed number in a lot of cultures. It's like all those buildings that don't have a 7th floor.
All the apartment buildings, when I lived in New York, like my grandpa's building, there's no 13th floor there. It just goes from 12 to 14.
That always bugged me, because I'm like...
Oh, it horrified me, because my dad told me that if you misbehave, the elevator takes you there without you pushing a button. And I was like, oh my god!
It's just an empty floor.
Yeah, as he says, it's an abandoned haunted floor.
Oh my god.
You know? It's like, It's like when you step onto the bus and it's Freddy Krueger driving. It's like you get in the elevator and you're just on the 13th floor. You're like,
That sounds like something to be in like a Doctor Strange movie where it's like they're trying to go to an address and it's like, oh, it's like the 7th floor of this building.
you're getting
And
me hyped
they
up.
just go up and down the stairs. It's like it goes from from 6 to 8.
This is gonna be quite the cheddar coming out of souL. You got me hyped up because I think the next one is actually meant to be more of like a horror theme type one as well, which has me excited.
Okay, so I know there was a short period of time where a lot of pro players said Raynor didn't have a great proxy defense. I think those days are long gone and past though, so I want to see how good is souL's proxy, especially this proxy is pretty far back, so.
And he went blind pool first as well.
Oh boy.
Yeet.
Yeah, it's going to make this a lot harder to make happen. Now, we do have the gas, of course, there for souL, so he's going to be throwing down.
What really blows my mind,
Wait.
though, Fear Dragon.
Oh, just that's the Marine to snipe off the Overlord, right?
What really rustles my jimmies, what really grinds my gears.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't take gas, so he can't go Reapers, really. His gas was way too late.
Oh, yeah.
Done it. His depot, his first depot wasn't even at his wall. Bothers me. Bothers me. I'm
Where did
thinking
he?
in the late
Where did
game.
he do? Oh, he
That
depoted by
depot's
his
not
mineral
going to
line.
do a whole lot for you. It's not. I'm sorry, Supply Depot. You're cute, but like, you know, I mean, you're not the protagonist.
Okay, so you see all these lings over here. You kind of have to cower in the corner. What do? Do you just, at this point, cut your losses and say, okay, like,
It's not all
happening?
in. It's not all
Yeah.
in. You can follow this up with Reapers if he does. If he's not getting, like, if he knew that he wasn't getting Ling speed, theoretically he could just start building them, as risky as that would be. But I mean, you get a factory back home. What the?
Engineering bay?
It builds fast. It says okay. I'm weird because I love.
But
doing
he's not
stuff on
even
eBay.
flush with the bunker, so he's not actually reducing surface area.
Yeah, I got nothing.
But I mean, he's still gonna kill all of these lings. He doesn't finish the bunker though. Nor does he.
Now he's building Reapers. Still no factory. Okay, thank you.
Was it a misclick maybe? What's a hotkey for an engineering bay?
E? Bunker's
That's pretty
default
far.
is
That's pretty
U.
far from you. Yeah. Not sure.
It's far from me too.
But yes, that would be who you are. Okay, well, now the barracks are going to finish up the Reapers, but the Lings are actually going to be here to immediately spot those out. So Raynor knows what the follow-up here is.
Yeah, the 2 Reapers are nice, just because there's no link speed. He can actually be really annoying with these. He hasn't even started link speed.
There's a queen in the main base.
Doesn't even have gas. He just started mining it, so... I mean, maybe you just YOLO these in if you try to kill a few drones. Keeping these Reapers alive, I think, is definitely the ideal play. If you can get them out.
It's going to
Get
lose
both
one.
of them out.
No.
Steve, stop the
Whoa.
stir. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, get
Slaps the drone, though.
There, that's what I mean. And now he'll do the standard Terran mating ritual, where after your cheese fails, you build 3 command centers.
Indeed.
Do it. Where's the 3rd? You're gonna build it on location?
No, is that him? More
Greedy.
barracks first.
Greedy boy. There's an SCB. May have already been queued. It was already queued. Got it.
Okay, yeah. There it is.
3 CCs to the death of me. Now
Did he
build
cancel
queue.
the other? He canceled the other barracks that he was building.
There was
Oh,
a,
I canceled-
those
canceled the
holograms that you the holograms you saw were the barracks going to land. He wasn't building it.
Oh, okay.
He instead landed them at the ramp though because he wants to
That-
win this game.
I realize walling off is somewhat important on
Do
third
it.
bird.
Do it.
That is
Yes.
why. Wow, I'm getting your wish. Now, okay, Nate.
Well, he decided he wants to win, so.
From here, do you go into Battlecruiser mech, or do you just go straight into bio again?
BC synergize really well with mech.
Mm-hmm.
They're just
I noticed that in the first game.
they synergize really well, and I would I'm gonna go so far as to say that I would like to see Cyclone Hellion with it. I think Cyclone Hellion BC is stupid strong. Although if he goes for like that BC Ghost play, then I much prefer that because that looks really good. The thing about it is Normally, when people are like, one of my favorite conversations, people are like, oh yeah, well, mech's weak against this, why don't you just build ghosts? Well, ghosts are really expensive, just like every mech unit is, right? And ghosts take a while to build, just like all the mech units. However, if you go battlecruisers and you generate value out of them, the whole point is that, you know, you pay the cost up front, and then you have like 6 army supply forever, right? You're not supposed to ever have to replace battlecruisers if you control them properly. So because of that, even though they are expensive, once you get the number of BCs that you want, and since you're not supposed to lose them, you don't really plan for replacing them. Yeah. That money can go into stuff like ghosts as you start to trade your SCVs and build orbital commands. So that's a world where I like seeing it.
Yeah, Ling barely made its way to the ramp, and you can see it actually did spot out the tech lab on the starport. Might reveal what the follow-up over here is, since I don't think Ravens are super common these days anymore.
It doesn't, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about battlecruisers and why battlecruisers are good. Because as a Zerg player, what could be coming out of a tech lab starport?
Banshee and Raven.
And what would be the one that you would want to prepare for the most if it was going to be? It would be Battlecruiser,
yeah.
And if you're good against BCs, you're good against Banshees, because the Battlecruiser is
you're getting up the spore.
The Battlecruiser fulfills the Banshee's role like way better than the Banshee. That's the only reason why I ever give Banshee crap on air is because the Banshee actually doesn't really have a defined role anymore, other than stopping some cheese, which Zerg players don't really do against Terran, and unless you play NA ladder. So all you gotta do, if you prep for BCs, you're prepped for everything. So I'd like to see a scan.
There are the factories.
Scan or right click on this. Actually, I like the overload. Take the overload.
That's not gonna get transfused or anything, so.
It costs a larva and 100 minerals. Grabbing overlords with BCs like that is always fun.
Yeah. Shuts down a little bit of vision as well and makes it easier for that battlecruiser to run around later on.
And he's going into armories. He's going to get Yamato much earlier this game, which I really like to see. 3 BCs is my magic number before you really like double down on the mech. And then once you have a good economy, you go back into building battlecruisers. You don't want to overcommit on battlecruisers, mostly because some Zergs will do like the big roach attack, and then you don't have enough BCs. Or I've played people who will just go like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to just rush to 30 Corruptors and other units because I think you're going only BCs. And then if you go only BCs, you die. You die a horrible, painful death.
Yep, seen that one. So in the first game, Raynor went for the kind of, it was primarily just a lot, it was a few Corruptors, not too many, but like a few Corruptors to try and push back those early BCs. Had a little bit of trouble with that. Added on some of the eventual Infestors and stuff. But it really was like the Ravager Corrosive Bile pairing with the Fungals that allowed him to get into a good spot in that first game, even though he ended up losing. That's not something you can rely on, right? Like just getting that kind of magical level of fungal growth and Corrosive Biles.
I like this though. Stay. Don't fight the Corruptor. The Corruptor will be transfused. My personal philosophy using BCs against Zerg is the moment that your BC is only auto attacking a Corruptor, teleport out. Never trade versus Corruptor because you won't kill one, and you're gonna have to teleport back and repair. They are definitely gonna transfuse the Corruptor, which doesn't cost money. And a lot of Zergs will do this. They'll fly back across and they'll try to shark it out. They're like, where is it? But here's where the BCs become extremely important. Swarm Host, Nidus on the way. Battlecruisers are fantastic at shutting this down because they can kind of freely step out and try to pick off the Nidus or Yamato, the Swarm Hosts. So if you know this is happening, you don't want to be building siege tanks, and that could be a trap he falls into since he's got 3 on the way. You want a lot of Hellions and actually Cyclones. Cyclones are pretty good here too to bully the Corruptors away from your. Oh, but maybe it's gonna be. Okay, he wants to make the first. He's being very conservative with his first Nidus.
Yeah, and this does mean he's going to be able to guarantee that first Nidus gets up, as opposed to the one that you just get up in the main base of your opponent or something. You don't actually know if that's going to finish.
I do like seeing. I like swinging for the fences on the first Nidus because it is so cheap. But now he knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's going to be on the lookout for it. He actually moves to the bottom left of, I think, some of the battlecruisers and snipes off an Overlord. They just got finished with sniping off an Overlord, but Battlecruiser's not actually over here to help out for a little bit. He's going to lose a few of these siege tanks. One goes down, another nearly goes down, but it immediately goes back to repair it.
Yeah, this is where you like to see Cyclones. Okay, yeah, he's getting mag field, he's getting ship weapons and vehicle. Okay, yeah, this is everything I like to see. To get back into building Battlecruisers, BCs, Cyclone, Hellion. And as long as you control your Hellions well, I dare say it, if there's not a crazy amount of Banelings, I'd like to see him try to squeeze in servos too.
Yeah.
One thing we really just have not seen a lot of in this match has been Broodlords. And while there have been some of them, they have not been impactful enough or early enough for me to think that you shouldn't try to punish that. Like, being able to have these tanks on the field like this has been a huge, huge, huge boon to his play in the mech games today.
All right, Swarmos Locust Wave coming on out. Gonna shark after some more of these siege tanks. Going after the missile turret instead. Right-clicks it onto one of the tanks. Gets a quick and easy snipe off on that. The Planetary Fortress mostly left to fend for itself. There's a couple of siege tanks on the far left, but if he wants to hit just the north side, he could do that. Build
them turrets. Get them turrets, boy. You need to make sure that that command center does not get picked off by
Corruptors.
Yep.
All right, Cyclones take care of one of the Nidus Swarms. There's another one going up on the bottom left. This is actually not too far away from the... There's another Nidus further down to the bottom
sensor
left.
Tower would show all of those as being the same thing, because you would think it's just 5 creep tumors spreading before the Nidus finishes.
That's cute.
One of the swarm hosts
Well,
will not make
oh yeah, it doesn't show the size of the exclamation mark.
No, it does not.
Swarmos off cooldown. There it is. Let's just go after the command center. Oh, he splits off just 4 locusts and goes for it. And sends the rest over after he sees the BCs.
No, but he's, you know what? That's the nice thing about being the guy who builds 9 orbitals. Forcing the Battlecruisers to teleport back for that was that's pretty rough, though. You don't want to have to do that.
Okay, well, 5 more command centers on the way.
Bring the Cyclones. These BCs cannot teleport away. You need the Cyclones. Oh, yes.
And snipes off another Corruptor. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, those 5 command centers will take him up to 9. 9 orbitals.
It's really nice, though. That command center being put right in front of the base, you might think to yourself, that's a little bit silly. But that CC can be lifted when it's done. It's not planted there forever. And it's a huge block that's like in your face if you wanted to try and snipe down this planetary. The surface area that's cut off from the planetary as well is really, really big. Because really, it's all about keeping the PF alive.
Oh, the Locust actually getting spread out damage between the two things. Now, the command center does get canceled. Corrosive Bells do land on a lot of those Battlecruisers, but all of them manage to stay alive for now. And Siege Tank is going to hold strong for here.
Yeah, tell the Nidus, bring everything back except the BCs. Like, if you can run the BCs forward in these little moments, that's huge. Although having the Cyclones with you is really nice, because if Corruptors show up, he's going to be able to kill them pretty easily.
No 2-2 on the way here for souL, and the upgrades are incredibly important for these kind of Battlecruiser builds.
Yeah. I'd like to see him get that next upgrade. He scans, sees the swarm host. And BC's pretty solid against Locusts. Locusts don't have armor by default, I don't think. So, and he actually doesn't have any Carapace upgrades on the ground. So his BCs are actually very good at helping to clean these up.
Yeah, only loses 2 workers. That's it.
I really don't like having to use the teleport like that, but are there actually Corruptors? He got the Greater Spire, there's 10. I would have liked to see him try and push with the BCs a little bit more aggressively. He may be worried about infestors. There are none, by the way.
Another tank gets picked off. I have to say, though, this is a really, really nice map, and how souL is defending it to just secure your 5 bases.
But souL is pretty broke, so the thing is, he's trading. You don't want to trade the Cyclone Hellion against these units because Ravagers are cheaper than Cyclones. So as long as he's picking off a few of these, and like some of these units that haven't been repaired, like that Siege Tank is just one love tap away from death, and I think now
there's that love tap.
That Dark Cold Night, it will go.
Banelings come rolling on in, and ooh, actually Corrosive Pile's knocking out some of the Banelings.
Lack of repair on some of the BCs was a bit annoying earlier, but now as the Cyclone count gets thinned, once that Cyclones are all gone, those Corruptors might get bold in terms of their aggression towards the Battlecruisers, especially since he's eaten some biles to the face. It makes me nervous about...
He's getting really aggressive. He teleports the Battlecruisers over to the Swarmos. Gets 1, gets the Nidus Swarm.
I don't like it, because if he sends 1 BC, I think he can still bully this back, but now because he sent everyone, A, the Corruptors could, if he had a lot of Corruptors, he could try to dive on him there on the south side.
Yeah.
But B, now he has no way to be aggressive. Like, teleport 1 back, let the rest push into the Zerg base. Force those Corruptors to come fight you and Yamato those.
The way he was doing this in game number 1 was exactly that, where he was sending those battlecruisers on big run-by attempts, sniping off a base, and then teleporting back. And sometimes he would trade 1 or 2 bases for one of the bases of Reynor, but he would also get a lot of units.
And that's good. So now he gets a little bit of pressure put on by the Hellions. I'd like to see him get servos. He can technically clear all that creep.
I'd like to see him get 2-2. Really would like to. Well, he has the +2 armor at
Lack of
least
upgrades
now.
on battlecruisers is going to hurt him, though, because +2 air carapace just finished for the Corruptors. So they're going to be at 4 armor now. And the battlecruiser with only +1 is going to do 7 damage per hit. Or no, 6 damage per hit. So it's going to be 2 damage per hit now against the Corruptors. So battlecruisers are completely useless against the Corruptors outside of Yamato. So you need, now it's even more important to have the Ghosts and Cyclones there.
Yep, especially with a few more of those Corruptors being added on there for Reynor. Now, looks like the top right-hand base has a little bit of congestion, because there's a hatchery and a command center just floating around in there.
Why can't we be friends begins to play?
Well, it's because there's a Cyclone literally killing the building.
Yeah. That production tab.
Well, we got that good old, what's the EMP upgrade called? It's improved shockwave or something?
Yeah. I believe that is the name for it. I'm supposed to be the guy that knows all the upgrade names. This one just came out.
Okay, he's finally starting to go for some of those run-by attempts along the corners of the map. He's going to find one of those hatcheries, but at the same time, the Locusts come diving on in, sniping off 1 siege tank, a 2nd siege tank goes down, a 3rd siege tank goes down, and a 4th one gets awfully low on hit points before finally the Zerg army gets bullied back.
Yep, the tanks are still really important. Raynor's been extremely patient about this. This is what I wanted to see.
Yes.
By the way. Raynor's been extremely patient about his Brood Lords in terms of when he gets them. Probably a little too patient, honestly. But this is how you want to do it. BCs go to the side. I would, yep, Yamato. He only loses 1 BC because of his stubbornness.
And he actually teleports up to this hatchery that was a little bit lower.
This is really smart because A, the Ghosts are here, but B, the time it would take for that army, for the Corruptors to come back, he has all the time he needs to retreat to where his turrets and SCVs are.
That's bottom left to top right, so that is the furthest possible distance he could have gone on this map. Now we're going to end up seeing a few more Yamatos being used. The Corruptors are still giving chase over here. The Ghosts are here, though.
You fell for one of the classic blunders. He did lose a BC.
Yeah.
Killed one of the Corruptors with the Ghosts.
There's
Nukes ahoy.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a Ghost on the top left. Gets a nuke off. Actually, that's the entrance of the Nidus Storm, by the way. So you pop that, and suddenly,
if the Nidus network dies and there are no worms on the field, all of the units inside the Nidus
there
die.
are, thankfully for Reynor, 3 Nidus Storms still on the field. So not in danger of that.
You don't need the network to use the worms.
But you do need the network to make new worms.
Yes. If you lose all of the entrances, the units inside die instantly.
Nice stepping off that sensor tower. It's going to cut down a bit of that vision range for more Swarm Host Locust Wave attacks coming on in. Going to kill actually a decent number of workers here.
Yeah. I don't think the workers are a problem anymore.
Yeah.
SouL still has too many, in my opinion. 75 SCVs is overkill.
He is already up to his 13 orbitals, so he could probably start. He's actually getting his 14th orbital now. Okay. And 15th and 16th command center on the way.
So Tasteless only recently figured out what a sensor tower is, and as much as I love them, I do think that they're a little bit close together. I think there's 2 in both bases. There are 2 sensor towers next to each other.
It's like the Venn diagram of what Zerg and Terrans hate, and it's just Protoss in the center. Yeah, that's what that Venn diagram is.
Maybe they've only got 5 gigahertz spectrum and they're looking for density rather than range. I don't know.
Infestors being added on finally at long last, but ooh, that might actually kill the next worm. Nope. Ghost dies first.
That would have been a huge grab. Well, Nidus Network or not, the Swarm Hosts have been quelled. They are off the board.
Still 2 worms out there as well, and we do see some semblances of an establishment of a base in the top right, but it's actually Raynor's hatchery that just finished up, but SouL's gas geysers on the base. I like that.
Yeah. Infest that. Bruh.
Wouldn't it be pretty cool if you could neuroparasite a building?
I say this all the time. As much of a Terran player as I may be, and as much as I may advocate for Terran rights, I would 100% be all for giving Zerg real infestation back. Not this, we created Marines that have guns that normal Marines don't have, infested Terran.
Infested Reapers, so it's like an infested Terran from Brood War.
You should just be able to infest any building, I think would be really cool. And it doesn't really make sense, but I love the idea of like, if you, imagine if it like turned it into like the colonist huts from the campaign. Where like there's a depot in red health, and you have like, well, what X unit nearby, like an infestor. It channels for like 6 seconds, and then the depot at full health.
Now you have an infested depot.
And it just like spawns little zombie guys. I'm just saying.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and the Terran has to kill their own depot.
Zerg player can raise and now lower a depot, and I'm like, cool, Nate.
Okay, well, you know, I guess I don't see why infesting it would stop the the elevator from working.
Well, no.
Actually, I can see why that would stop it.
There's a lot of like random bumps now on the building.
Yeah, the tentacles get.
Whoa, okay, this is actually a pretty big engagement as we see the Banelings come rolling on in. The Siege tanks take care of a lot of that. SouL definitely probably happier with how that went.
Yep, no, that's really good.
Whoa.
I think the Nidus still survives this.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't close enough to the epicenter.
He's also whittling away slowly but surely at the hit points of that infestation pit.
That ghost is about to decloak. Right?
No.
Yeah.
It was also only going to get 2 drones. And
It's gonna cancel some production, man. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's 4 larvae technically gone as well, if you think about it.
I don't think larva is going to be one of the big concerns right now, though.
You say that? No, you're probably right.
I think he still has around 8 or 9 hatcheries.
Does he? Yeah, he does. He's good.
I've never seen a Zerg player lose at 9 hatcheries.
The 9 hatcheries. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. You want some fun stats?
It's actually only 6 hatcheries.
Yeah. And you know what else?
That's a lot of tanks.
There are 106 creep tumors on the map. Just figured some of you would want to know that.
I think that's a lot.
As someone who can't count, I find it very impressive.
You can count. I've seen you count. I think you're underestimating yourself.
I don't know.
No?
I just don't know sometimes for your dragon.
Well, count the number of drones that dies over here. Because we got 13 drones on 1 middle patch. And can you count to 0 and 8? Infestor?
Oh!
No. Too far.
Nope, gets a larva and denies an infestor.
An infestor larva, yeah. Whoa, those fungals. Really, really big. Gonna be able to prevent all these battlecruisers
Try
from teleporting
spinning.
out.
That's a neat trick. See, that's where the... Wow. How much delay you playing with there? This next nuke. Goodbye, Roach Warden. Goodbye.
So close to getting the hatchery. So close. And the ghost is finally gonna die. Bottom center base was also a little bit more congestion for the orbital. Gets sniped off by the corrosive or the caustic spray.
That's how you want to use it, by the way. The infestors have to get fungals on the BCs when they're doing that, and then they can't teleport out. You just can't spam infested Terrans to kill them anymore. You have to do something else. The EMP, beautiful though.
Whoa.
Oh, I think that's the only fungal with this army. So
yeah.
I don't even think you siege up
One
here.
more.
You just attack move and start spraying.
Yep.
Pew, 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 pew.
And those Broodlords are going to go down. I do want to note that SouL traded out his top right-hand base to take this engagement, but also taking out a lot of the army supply. I think SouL's going to be okay with that.
Yeah, no, I think he's feeling fine. Look at that. He even
Raynor's bank is gone.
Medivacs. He's even got Medivacs for all them. Guess what that bank is going into? Units that won't win the game.
Corruptors, Lings, and Banelings. Burrow is also an interesting play here. I don't actually know what he would be aiming to get though, because all of the units are going to be so tanky. Ghosts actually tank Banelings pretty well.
Yes, they do. He's going to try and drop a nuke in the midst of all of this. The absolute madman. He had a full energy ghost that didn't even cloak. There's the infested Terrans. Now here's what you do. You just get the hell out of there. Can you teleport? Teleport out. Save yourself. Save yourself.
Teleport. It was off cooldown for at least 1 or 2 of those battlecruisers. And these battlecruisers just running on it. Oh no, SouL! Raynor, I mean, this is what, 70, 80 supply up now?
Reminds me a lot about Thor's hair in the first 2 movies, you know, just overextensions everywhere. And I'm so...
Not a fan. Time for trimming?
He had a good spot, but the thing is, he could have used that fight he won to secure that base and try to take the next one. Instead, he pushes way too far ahead onto creep, gets caught by the fungal, and loses all of his battlecruisers, which, if you remember, those are the units that we don't plan for losing. Why? Because we are now broke.
Yep. Battlecruiser is pretty expensive. That's what was it? 400 minerals and
It's 400 minerals and 300 gas for your dragon.
that's a lot. That's a tiny bit.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see that souL
All
will
right.
try and clean up the hatchery.
Prepare
but
yourselves for
unfortunately-
game 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the Lings are gonna start coming in from behind. Sniped off one of the tanks. There's actually just a lot of Corruptor supply right now, but the Broodlord should guarantee souL's not gonna be able to make too much more progress on this side.
He's building a Cyclone and tanks and Hellbats.
But
there
Nate,
are Broodlords on
With
the map.
12 orbitals, shouldn't he still have an economy? Wait,
I
he
mean-
actually really does not have as many mules as I would think for 12 orbitals.
The reason why you build those orbitals isn't for mules, it's to scan, right? And here's the problem. This base was never really situated, so you're like, oh yeah, his income's about to spike up. Lol, pull up the income tab, awesome sauce. But then you also realize, well, he doesn't have an army, so defending that base becomes a little bit tricky.
Corruptors.
Goodbye,
gonna-
Command Center. Everyone in chat, wave goodbye. Goodbye.
It tried to hold on. It did its best. That's all we can ask for.
Now, mind you, Reynor is actually broke as well and doesn't have any mining bases.
This game is very scrappy. Yeah. Wait, actually, he is mining like
Oh
10
my
minerals
God.
every
Well,
couple of seconds.
That would have been the sickest thing he could have
GG.
just done. Okay, he GG's out anyway. I was gonna say that's a funny moment where it's like the Corruptors all fly in. But Caustic Spray actually has like a 34-second cooldown. So after killing the command center, he had to wait a little bit.
If only there were like 5 Widow Mines in the main base.
If only there were like 5 Cyclones.
That would also
If he
help.
had finished a bunch of Cyclones, he could have just grabbed a lot of Corruptors for free.
Well, souL is one of those players who I think does sometimes get in his own head. That's the reason why he oftentimes has not been able to perform, despite being a player that, again, I think a lot of other pro players have hyped up a lot. And now he has gone from 2-0 lead versus Raynor as the underdog to now it's 2-2. We're going to game 5. Nate,
Well, first he
I'm a
played
little worried.
Bio. First he played Bio way too hard. All right, you threw a lot of units away. That last game, 100%. He had everything going for him. You cannot engage Corruptors with Battlecruisers. There is no excuse. But Nate, his teleport was off cooldown. Don't fight when your teleport's on cooldown against Corruptors. But Nate, he wanted to counterattack. He just killed the army. Well, drop that command center, put some turrets around it, take the gas, and build another command center. Play it slow. Don't. It's overextending.
yeah.
If you push with mech and you are not at 200 supply, you are asking to get killed, especially for whatever reason. And then 2 battlecruisers rallied into Corruptors.
Yeah. No, I mean,
gonna be a yikes
2
for me, bro.
Battlecruisers getting rallied into the Corruptors. I clicked
There's no
on 2
excuse.
of the 4 the Battlecruisers that were there. They were off cooldown for tactical jumps.
So they
He just
could have
missed.
they could have teleported.
They could have teleported. I think he was looking in the top right where he had lost his base. That's the only thing I can assume he was looking at.
If you've got battlecruisers, you need to be like a soccer mom on a Saturday afternoon. Okay, you absolutely do not take your eyes off of your kids for 1 second.
Yeah.
There you go. Just
Otherwise-
giving you guys life tips, parenting tips. I've got it all here.
Otherwise,
StarCraft 2
someone
World
will
Championship Series.
come in and corrupt them.
Oh goodness. Well, someone will bring like fast food to soccer practice. Okay, let's keep it
yeah.
wholesome here.
I'll give them a bunch of like Laffy Taffy or something and be like, you can have as much as you want.
No, my children only eat organic, grass-fed avocados. All right, that's it.
Grass-fed avocados.
Did I stutter? We're in game 5. Oh my God! Can you believe this is only the first match of the day? We've been on for 4 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare yourselves.
The other
Prepare
matches
yourselves.
didn't count. God. This
It's gonna be a
definitely been
really
long.
long. This is going to end up being our longest WCS broadcast.
Well, don't worry because the next series is going to be Showtime versus Drogo. It's a PvP.
Yeah, the carriers are usable now, so it's going to become one of those games.
You have to get to carriers, Nate. I think that the problem with PvP is not about your ability, is not about whether or not carriers would keep you alive. It's about could you stay alive to that point in the game that they would be relevant.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand a single word you just said. In English, please,
That's
dear
okay.
dragon.
PvP be whack, yo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
PvP is in an interesting state lately.
I I guess we can. I'm gonna have to cast that match. I'm gonna get into it with cats, but
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. You know me. I tell the same stories all the time because I can't forget which ones I've told. So I'm just gonna tell it to you again anyway.
Okay.
So you won't be there for the next match, but I resonate with the Protoss players. The PvP frustration in the early game is why I hate. It's the same thing in TvT. It's the same thing with like the Reaper builds and whatnot. It's not as bad. I'll admit.
Yeah.
Because you can blindly kind of counter Reaper cheese, but the limitation of build orders because of what your opponent can do, it's like you have to be ready for 2 adepts, at any time at the start of a game, etc.
Yeah. Since I'm not going to be on the next match, I'll just note that Showtime was seems like he was feeling pretty optimistic about it for the most part. I know that he had a bit of, it's so funny because every single time we talk about Showtime and we're like, it doesn't seem like he's really getting the performance that we expect of him. And then you look back at his results and it's like, oh, he actually has not gotten like below top 16, or like a lot of his results are still top 8 or even top 4 for the entire year. And you're like, we just have really, really ridiculously high standards for Showtime.
There are people.
It's like a bit unfair for him.
There are people who think that souL fell off this year because he had a few second places.
Yeah, I got those DMs. I was on the Pylon show and I was like, yeah, I think that souL's still really good. And it was like, why is everyone still just talking about souL?
Shut up about souL. Just because he wins everything or finishes in second place doesn't mean he's still the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
anyway, this series has been great, and
this
honestly,
has been a really fun series.
We talked a little bit about that next match, and to take it back to a serious, relevant thing. I actually am hard pressed to see how, without something really insane, the winner of the next series being able to beat the winner of this match. Reynor and souL have both looked incredible today. The only reason why one of these guys hasn't looked perfect is because they are so good that they are seriously trading blows in this best of 5.
Yeah. I do think that Showtime's PvZ has been looking really good lately, so I'm hopeful for that. And Drogo has also been on fire. That's the other thing. Drogo has been looking really good lately.
I know he looks really handsome in all the promo pictures they put out and everything.
Well, how can you play when you're so distracted by how handsome your opponent is?
Exactly.
Is that the only reason?
I was gonna say, how can you practice when you're so distracted by every girl in France wanting to hit on you? Drogo's a handsome guy. I have to admit. Guy can't even go to a coffee shop without being asked on a date, and then all of a sudden, an hour of your time is gone. I could have played 11 PVTs where I 2-gate.
Do you know what the solution is, Nate?
Build a fusion core.
Apparently, actually, yes. That is in fact the answer. Drogo should just build a fusion core like souL, so you can go for another Battlecruiser opening. And for now, that Reaper's just going to be getting some general scouting around, but we got a decent number of Lings coming out here for Raynor, getting ready to push back any Hellions, and he is going to be encountering that Battlecruiser in a few minutes soon.
He could do everything the same way he did last game, and he'd be fine, as long as he teleports the BCs out and never engage the Corruptors. If the Corruptors are over your main army, if you really want to risk it all, just yeet the BC into their main. Like, that can work. The time it takes the Corruptors, blow up everything in the main, force a big fight.
Ooh,
we've got a Nidus Swarm.
And that is an early Nidus Swarm with a lot of Lings. This is no longer just for the Hellions.
The reason why this is going to work is A,
wall?
He's not really been walling the front, which is the big problem, because these Lings are, I actually think that engaging right now is a little bit of a mistake.
Oh, at the ramp, you can definitely take on these Lings.
I think losing any of the Zerglings before the Nidus is ready is a mistake, because what you're doing is you're limiting the amount of... Because what he wants to do is Nidus in the main, but also attack the front and maybe pop another Nidus there. And you actually want to have that big swell of Lings.
He is so ready for this Nidus Storm, it's not going to finish. Right?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And the Lings are at the front, so it's just like, there you go. Now the BC is going to finish, and a Battlecruiser, one BC on its own at the start of the game can a Nidus network kill. But here's the 3,000 IQ plays. He didn't go for big Hellions this game. He made this transition very quickly into tanks, so he has a tank out. So you put a tank up front, good luck getting through that wall.
Oh, the biggest second wall.
The biggest concern is going to be, the biggest concern in this situation is going to be, you just want to make sure you don't get Nidus in the main while you're holding the front. You want to get a tank up there. And the BC just yeeted, by the way, so it's in the third.
Okay, yeah, starting to kill some drones and really forcing Raynor into an awkward spot. 3 or 4, now 5 of these queens have actually retreated home, so he's got a ton of queens to fall back on. That also means that the queens at the front door are not exactly super protected when the siege tank starts sieging up.
Yep. No, this doesn't do anything anymore. Just make sure that you don't get caught in the main, and queens are not good at killing siege tanks. Fast fact for you here at WCS.
That's actually quite a slow fact, because queens are so slow at killing them.
Yes!
You look like you are in so much pain right now.
You're right.
I think that is my most successful pun so far. Not even a pun.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job here, Dragon.
Thank you, Nate. You're looking pretty handsome yourself.
It's good to have you back. There was a dude with a Protoss tattoo here and everything. I was really scared.
How do you know I don't have a Protoss tattoo? My sleeves just aren't rolled up. Have you ever seen me in a t-shirt?
I haven't. I've only
You
ever
actually,
seen you in
you
a
actually have
suit.
not. I can say that.
I've only seen you in dress clothes or hoodies. So
Yeah, that's actually true. Just like this Battlecruiser is truly getting a decent amount of damage done. 5 workers killed, forcing these queens to all return on home. Battlecruiser has tactical jump off cooldown. He just used it. Did he just retreat home?
Yep,
he did.
Well, this is an easy breakout. It's not even roaches that were in this worm,
Yeah.
right? It's just queens and lings. Like with this many Hellions, you should be 100% fine to just clear it all out.
Little preemptively trying to mine from the third base with the lings over there. So he loses a few workers, but the Hellions will roast and toast all of those lings that are on that side.
Yes, there's another worm.
Is that Nidus worm worth it?
If the queens kill the Hellion, if the queens deal with the Hellions, they can still fight the Battlecruisers.
When Yamato finishes.
This is where it gets up. Teleport. I would teleport 1. Yes, there you go. And Yamato it.
He doesn't have Yamato yet.
Smite it. Okay.
Oh,
don't shoot the Overseer!
Oh, he's misclicking. Well, he's still gonna get it.
Still okay. That was.
Soul's like, I know that I can do both.
I was sweating it. All right, I didn't believe in you there for a moment, but I was scared.
And now he's gonna have
I care
Yamato.
about you. It's only because I care about you.
He's gonna have Yamato now. So these Nidus worms should not be able to get up anymore with how many Battlecruisers he's about to have. 3 Battlecruisers, all with Yamato available to teleport on.
That ain't right.
That's gonna be quite difficult. Now, I do like that Raynor tried to get so much creep spread going, but
He's gonna try and counterattack.
is he actually gonna be able to get those creep tumors out in time? He goes up to the Nidus worm first and doesn't scan again.
Nope.
Oh, but he might just scan and see all those creep tumors now.
Well, he needs to.
There's one outside range.
The third is pretty open. Well, the Hellions could all technically hit it if they were to attack the right one. And they won't.
Nope. Oh, but he's going to scan for the rest of them?
Uno mas.
Maybe?
One more time.
Oh, he didn't notice. He retreated back. Bada bing, bada boom. Yamato one-shotting those queens. Backing up.
Swarmhorsts are going to be next on tonight's. What's the name for like a three-course meal? I guess is that just the name of it? Is there a fancier name for that type of meal where there are multiple courses? I'm trying to think of that.
I don't think so. I mean, for multiple courses, yes. I think there's a name for like a 5-course meal. I don't know if there's a name for a 3-course one.
Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter what number it is, but. Bring the BCs out. I like this, yeah. Burn out against the queens.
Missed the
See
transfuse.
the swarm hosts.
Yeah. So one of the queens ends up going down
Got
over
a blast.
there. And the last queen, there's still 3 or so transfuse left over, but good damage.
Now
Drains all the energy.
he knows that there are swarm hosts on the field. Magfield is on the way. Hellions and Cyclones, good choices aplenty.
Well, there's no Nidus worms on the other side of the map right now, so Raynor's got to get some vision if he wants to try and go for those. He doesn't have any Overlords or anything, so it's just going to pretty much be where the Swarmos are right now that he's got the vision.
So the Locusts are going to buy time.
Hellbats.
While the Lings get in and the Roaches attack, I guess. He gets all the tanks.
What did the Locusts even dive on?
He was on a mission for the siege tanks.
Oh my god.
He accomplished it.
Wow, he dove really far for those. And yeah, he got every one of the tanks.
But that makes the Roaches and Ravagers and the Queens a bit more effective now too, so you need to be very careful.
Yeah, Soul's base looking very, very barren right now. There's not a whole lot over here.
You don't want to be building siege tanks right now. You want to have had the tanks from the early game and be building Cyclone Hellion. And since he can't do that, well, that just hurts. Don't forget, at any point, he could ride an Overseer on the outside and try to get a Nidus in the main too.
Battlecruiser's moving up to the north side, so he does anticipate the location of those swarm hosts. Oh, so many of the I think all the Hellbats just died. That's all of them.
The BCs are busy dealing with locusts, so...
Reynor seems like he's finally got the number of souL and has figured out how to handle this kind of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still growing in number. He's keeping them alive and everything, but just not having enough Hellbats, losing all those tanks to the Swarm hosts. Yeah, I really thought souL was set up so well after defending the next room so appropriately, but Reynor's really showing how good he can be against this.
He hasn't been able to effectively use the Battlecruisers in this game. Has been a big thing. Like, the Roach Ravager just did such a good job. And also, like, he never really did a lot of damage with the BCs. He never did. The one move out that we saw past the start where he teleported across, he's dead.
Yep.
He traded out against Queens, and he could see the Swarm hosts, but that's the only reason I don't like Yamatoing Queens is because you can almost always get away from Queens. So they're going to try to bring something else, generally speaking, to deal with you. In that case, then you're like, yeah, I want to Yamato the Swarm hosts, or I want to Yamato the Corruptors, because those are the units that can actually, like, get rid of my Battlecruisers, or at least, you know, they can break me on the other side. But I don't, I'm not feeling too strong for him anymore. He's trying to get a Raven out because he's thinking that if he can get a Dorito cannon onto the Corruptors,
then the Battlecruisers get a +3 weapon upgrade.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. Not today.
Gonna be pretty tough, and even the Swarm host just gonna be able to take care of any of those SCVs on the ground that we're repairing. Battlecruiser goes down, and Reynor, originally down 0-2, comes back for the 3-2 victory and advances on to the semi-finals.
Well done. I think Reynor came into this match as an expected favorite, but honestly, after the first 2 games, I was pretty convinced that souL would take this 3-1 or 3-2.
Yeah.
I was just... Yeah, no, really well played. Great adjustments by Reynor. He played very well in the bio games. But the biggest thing that stands out for me for souL, I think souL should have probably won this match off the Thunderbird game.
Yeah.
Throwing away all the Battlecruisers at the end is just... It looks like you're like, oh, he had no bank after anyway. Like, there was nothing going on. I'm like, Reynor did not have any mining bases. He lost all his hatcheries. He was pulling in like 400 minerals a minute, long distance mining. If you save all those BCs, the supply does, I mean, like the 7 BCs is like 42 army supply. So losing all of that really, really hurts. He definitely had a lot of opportunities in this best of 5 to close it out, but Reynor, great job, great tenacity.
Yeah.
And great adjustments.
Yeah, hanging in there. Congratulations, Reynor. Of course, he's going to be with that top 4. He'll be moving into that awesome spot where he's going to get flight and hotel and everything else paid for. But, ladies and gentlemen, next match is going to be a PvP. Showtime versus Petit Drogo.
First semi, by the way, looks amazing.
Yeah, Drogo didn't seem like he was super excited about the prospects of a PvP, and I know Showtime has had a really good win rate versus everyone in Europe except for souL. So we'll see who is going to be able to come out on top in that Protoss versus Protoss.